could harm innovation.
Microsoft says it will help pay for the electric bills of rural communities when it builds AI data centers in their areas. The company released a plan for, quote, community-first AI infrastructure. The rise in data centers has concerned some rural communities across our state and the country. Those worries, they include using massive amounts of electricity and water, causing higher utility bills and harming the environment. The other main concern cited is not providing many jobs, since many of these data centers, they require few workers once they are operational. So to combat those anxieties, Microsoft says, again, it will pay electric costs to offset possible rising utility bills for people near those centers. Officials also promise to minimize their water use and replenish more water than they use.
All right, time now, 5:49. Forget all the other news. This is the best news of our morning. Fox 9 has a new family member. Please help us welcome Hannah Flood's new little baby girl, Emma Jo. Hannah sent us these pictures with the comment that mom and dad and big sister love you very much. We're all happy and healthy and clearly just adorable and precious. Oh my goodness.
Look at big sister Millie just soaking it in.
Yeah. Holding their little sister. Oh my gosh, what a moment that they'll never forget. And so glad they're doing well. We've been waiting for this. We needed this good news, and we're very excited.
We've been waiting for Emma Jo to come to the party, and she's finally here. And hopefully they get some, just some rest and some time off. And
and you can stop calling her Jenny.
Long backstory.
Hannah wasn't sharing the names, so you just kept calling her Jenny.
You know what? We'll just call her names until we land on one. Emma Jo.
Emma Jo is a beautiful name, Hannah. I'm glad we didn't name your baby, that you named your baby.
Congrats, Hannah.
Good morning, Emma Jo.
Yes, great news there. Weather-wise today, kind of going in this roller coaster. We're going up today.
Okay.
So temperatures should be pretty warm later on today into the overnight hours, and then we'll slowly fall throughout the day for tomorrow. Things are pretty quiet this morning. Temperatures at 12 right now. Had the clouds strolling in overnight, and with that, saw a few flurries here and there, and better shot right now to see any snowflakes in Minnesota is up near the international border, kind of heading toward parts of the North Shore, and this will drop down toward the south and east as we head throughout the day ahead. Here's lunchtime with Futurecast. Some of this light snow that's mainly in northern Wisconsin, parts of the North Shore, may extend as far southward in the eastern Minnesota that the Twin Cities around lunch, very early afternoon, may have just this minor little round of some light snow. But generally, the whole day here should be pretty quiet until late evening when some snow drops out of southern parts of Canada and temperatures warm up enough just after dark that we may even have a little bit of winter mix in a few pockets of western and southwestern Minnesota, potentially coming close to the Twin Cities. But overnight tonight, a few periods of light snow, and this will be the theme as we head throughout our Friday. It's not going to be much, but at times it'll be just kind of snowing lightly. Other times it's just going to be windy because it looks like kind of a gusty day out there, and we'll have to watch some of those roadways as we could just have enough of that very light snow at times that some roadways may just become a little bit slick. It's not going to be much snow, but just a little bit, and some of that will last into Friday night. Should be out of here by Saturday morning. So the majority of us are going to see less than 2 inches, and I think a big chunk of the state will probably be less than an inch out there. I think if you want to see a little bit more snow, it's going to be along the North Shore, northern Wisconsin. Some places will see over 2 to 4 inches of snow. So it'll be enough just to be kind of a nuisance out there, and we'll watch those roadways on Friday as it will get a little bit gusty with the snow sliding on by as temperatures will fall. So let's recap this as this clipper slides on by. We have light snow today, a shot around lunchtime, and then better shot will be later on in the evening and overnight. We warm up to around 29 later this afternoon, and then just after midnight, we may still just be slightly above freezing. This time tomorrow morning, I'm expecting us to be close to 30 degrees, then fall down to 14 with some periods of light snow, and it'll be kind of a windy Friday, so some of that light snow will be just whipping around as it falls. As we head towards Saturday is just going to be really bitter out there. A cold day with a breeze and only a high of 8 if we can make it there. It's going to feel almost upper single digits to maybe teens below 0 all day long on Saturday for those feels like temperatures. So that's going to be a cold day, very chilly still into Sunday. Sunday may sneak out a snowflake or two late in the day. And then your Monday forecast, another really cold day. I was looking at what the coldest day the airport's had so far this year. We had a high of 3 about a month ago. And so we won't be far off from that, meaning that both Saturday and Sunday could be some of the coldest days we've experienced so far for this winter season. It's still chilly Tuesday into Wednesday. We're taking a break. You're watching the Fox 9 Morning News. We will return after this.
Welcome back to Fox 9 Morning News.
Welcome back. Just about 6 o'clock, and the 6 o'clock hour of the Fox 9 Morning News starts in just a few minutes.
Yeah, Tom Butler and Kelly O'Connell here with us this morning with the preview of what we are working on. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Good to see you again. Coming up at 6, we continue to follow the latest developments out of Minneapolis, where ICE agents are involved in another shooting. What we know so far from the Department of Homeland Security, local leaders, and witnesses on the scene. The mayor saying the city is in, quote, an impossible situation.
Plus, a baby is dead, and police say it was at the hands of a daycare provider. The disturbing reason why police say she did this, as charges are expected today.
Plus, back home, 4 astronauts just splashing down in California overnight after spending more than 150 days in space. More on their mission and why they headed home a little earlier than expected. That's all coming up for you at 6. And Keith is talking snow. We'll find out about the snow in just a minute.
Yeah. Looking forward to maybe a little fresh flake or two.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. All right, 5:57 now. Let's take a live look outside right now here. Things looking good out there. It is a little cold to start the day, but we could see maybe a little bit of a warm up throughout the day. Keith Marlowe will detail all of that for you here coming up in just a little bit. The Fox 9 Morning News at 6 starts in 2 minutes.
Now on Fox 9 Morning News at 6 a.m.
Now on Fox 9, protesters clash with police and federal agents in Minneapolis after the latest shooting by an ICE officer sending a man to the hospital. What Homeland Security is saying about this situation from overnight.
Some Minnesota Republicans are launching a bid to impeach Governor Tim Walz. A closer look at their reasoning and a timeline of a possible vote.
Live and local all morning. This is Fox 9 Morning News at 6 a.m.
And we will get to that big story in just a moment. Thanks for waking up with us here on the Fox 9 Morning News. Good to see you on this Thursday. I'm Tom Butler.
And I'm Kelly O'Connell. We appreciate you starting the morning with us here on Fox 9 and Fox Local, wherever you are. Lauren standing by, taking a look at the roads. Early, things look good.
Yeah, it's quiet and things are dry. Today's going to be good. Tomorrow, though, could be a different story.
Right, because we have snow in the forecast again.
We do. It's not a lot, that's for sure. A couple of little baby systems rolling our way. Not a lot of moisture with them, but just enough, as we go on kind of off and on through the day today and into the day tomorrow as well. Current temperatures are climbing. We've bottomed out already. We're on our way up. 12 degrees, though, feels like 3, with a bit of a breeze that'll slowly kind of pick up over the next couple of days or so. Some cloud cover racing on by. You see a little bit of light snow up on the Canadian border. That's the telltale sign of a little weak clipper that's beginning to move on through the area. And as we go through the day today, we'll see that kind of stretch on down and give a glancing blow of some flakes around late morning into the early afternoon, around lunchtime. Maybe a few light flakes and flurries around the Twin Cities, and we could actually wrap that up into the early afternoon with some drizzle or some freezing drizzle in the metro, as we'll still be frozen at that point. So we got to watch out again for some patchy, slippery spots this afternoon. Even though not much will show up on radar, we could still see some lingering flurries or some drizzle or icy drizzle at times this afternoon. And then another little wave of some light snow returns. You see that upstream there rolling on in this evening, and then we'll see that patchy light snow continue off and on overnight tonight and into parts of the day tomorrow. So a few light flakes today, one round around midday that could turn a little slippery at times, then another round this evening and into the overnight. We'll go for a temperature around 30 by around 7 o'clock this evening, and then a brief thaw into the night before we have temperatures plunge through the day tomorrow as the snow wraps up. We'll have all the details coming up. But right now, let's get a look at that Thursday morning commute. Lauren.
Good morning. Here at 6:02, no crashes to show you, just looking quiet in downtown Minneapolis. This is a look at 94 and 7th Street. Dry roads here across the Twin Cities and across the entire state of Minnesota. MnDOT reporting normal driving conditions on all your major interstates and state highways. Across the Twin Cities, no backups to show you. We are in the green across the board. 94 is going to close in both directions in St. Paul starting tomorrow evening. Tom and Kelly, I'll have those details coming up in about 13 minutes.
All right, Lauren, thank you. New this morning, the BCA says it is launching an independent investigation into the latest shooting involving ICE agents in Minneapolis.
It comes after the BCA was shut out of the investigation into last week's deadly ICE shooting of Renee Good. Bill Keller live for us in Minneapolis with what we now know about last night's shooting. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, in fact, the shooting, the second in a week, causing another chaotic and tense scene in Minneapolis after this violent confrontation involving ICE agents. Here's what we know. Last night's shooting happened in the Hawthorne neighborhood. This is a pretty heavily residential area near Lyndale and 24th Avenue North. That's on the near north side. According to Homeland Security, ICE agents were conducting a traffic stop around 7 p.m. last night. They say they were targeting a man from Venezuela who's living in the U.S. illegally. They say he drove off, eventually crashing into a parked car before running off on foot. DHS says that a federal officer tried to arrest the man, but he resisted and then attacked the officer. Officials say 2 men then came out of a nearby home and also began attacking the officer using a shovel and a broom handle. That's when the agent, they say, opened fire, striking the man in the leg. All 3 ran inside the home. We're told that the suspect was later taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. As for those 2 alleged attackers, they were taken into custody. The officer also taken to the hospital for treatment. Again, this is the account from Homeland Security. City leaders holding a news conference late last night to address the shooting.
American citizens, by the way, many of them, are terrified because American citizens are getting picked up off the street by people in masks. That's not the way things should be conducted in any city in America. That's not who we are. That's not America. So I'm calling for peace. Everybody has a role in achieving that peace.
Yeah, minutes after the shooting, protesters began gathering at the scene. Minneapolis police called in. They say demonstrators turned violent. They say people were seen throwing fireworks, rocks, even ice chunks at both Minneapolis police and those federal agents. Officers used tear gas to try and disperse the crowd. In fact, during the chaos, one man tells us that ICE agents targeted his vehicle while his 6 kids were inside. A flashbang, he said, so powerful it set off his airbags.
Officers threw flashbangs and tear gas in my car and made I got 6 kids in the car. But my 6-month-old can't even breathe. My 2-year-old flipped out the damn car. This was flipped over. My car filled with tear gas. I'm trying to pull my kid out the car.
Yeah, the man says he and his wife were trying to leave the area when they were attacked. In fact, his wife tells Fox 9 that her 6-month-old infant stopped breathing and lost consciousness. They were transported by ambulance and are currently at a hospital being treated. Tom and Kelly.
All right, Bill Keller reporting live. Bill, thank you.
So tonight, let me say once again to Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, end this occupation. You've done enough.
And that's Governor Tim Walz delivering a primetime address last night, telling President Trump to end the operation of ICE agents here in Minnesota. At the same time, some Minnesota House Republicans are set to introduce articles of impeachment against Governor Walz this legislative session.
Leah Bino joins us now with a closer look at what the lawmakers are saying and a possible timeline. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, State Representative Mike Weiner provided Fox 9 with impending articles of impeachment drafted by the Minnesota House Research Department. The state constitution gives House lawmakers the power of impeachment and the Senate with the power to try any impeachment efforts once passed in the House. Now, according to the draft, there are 4 articles of impeachment. They say Governor Walz violated his oath of office by concealing or permitting the widespread fraud within Minnesota state administered programs. They also say he interfered with lawful oversight, investigation, or corrective action related to fraud in state agencies. The third article says the governor put politics over the law, breaching trust with the public. They also say the governor did not adhere to state laws because of public funds being compromised. Now, in response, this is a statement from the office of the governor. It reads in part, these legislators are apparently trying to capitalize on the president's vow for retribution against the state. Respected career attorneys have resigned over the DOJ's behavior. The federal government is attempting to pull billions from their constituents. It is shameful that this is how they're choosing to spend their time, and we urge them to get serious, end quote. Now, the 2026 legislative session starts on Tuesday, February 17th, with both the House and Senate convening at noon. To move forward with the impeachment, it would require a majority vote in the House. Any impeachment would move to the Senate, where it would require a 2/3 vote to remove him. We have a copy of that entire impeachment draft available on our website, fox9.com, and of course, we will continue to update this as we see any develops. Back to you.
All right. Thanks so much. It's Leah Bino reporting from our live center. Thank you, Leah.
It is 6:08 rather, and another warning about thin ice as we head into the weekend. The Brown County Sheriff's Office restricting all vehicle traffic on Sleepy Eye Lake. The Sheriff's Office there says 3 ice houses went through the ice recently, so the current restriction is for trucks, cars, ATVs, and snowmobiles. They say they will lift that ban once the ice becomes safer. Obviously, a warm Monday, Tuesday.
Exactly. In the 40s, Keith, and you know what that does to the ice? The integrity of the ice suffers, and then you have ice houses going through. Thankfully, no one was hurt.
Right.
Nobody was in those ice houses, as far as we know. So, but it's another day, Keith, where we're going to see maybe a little precipitation in the form of flakes.
Yeah, and maybe even some drizzle or some freezing drizzle at times as it comes through. And that's going to be really iffy. That'll be on the south side of a little bit of a weak wave. We're going to have several waves of some precipitation over the next couple of days, kind of caught up in some gusty breezes that pick up the pace as well. Not a lot of moisture here over the next 2 days, and the bulk of it really fall in the middle of the night tonight, and then some gusts will pick all that up and kind of blow it around with some turbulent occasional snow showers for tomorrow as well. But even in the grand scheme of things, we might be lucky to even see an inch over the next 2 days in the metro, maybe an inch and a half. Some folks in our Wisconsin zones could pick up 2 or 3 plus inches of snow. But it's, again, we're going to nickel and dime our way there. We're going to have to see how much we get really from this little midday burst. That'll kind of set the stage. If we can get a ½ inch out of midday, we might be able to get 2 inches. But if we don't see anything out of that midday burst, well, then, again, that kind of sets the pace for what we're doing ahead. Let's see what we can get out of this midday burst. So 12 degrees outside right now, cloudy and chilly as we head on out the door. Temperatures rising, though. We'll have a little batch of some snow come through the area late morning, early afternoon, around lunchtime or so. We might see a little bit of drizzle with that, too, on the back edge of it. But if we see any accumulation out of that at all, that'll be the gauge for what we can do this evening and tonight and into tomorrow, but cloudy and warmer. So some slippery spots will evolve, whether it be from a little coating that comes in around lunchtime or maybe a little bit of a drizzle that comes in just after that into the afternoon hours. But we'll be in the mid-20s after school, but temperatures continue to rise, ultimately around 30 by your evening commute. And then we'll actually start to briefly tease a thaw for part of the overnight hours tonight before temperatures start to fall on off. There are the upper single digits and lower teens around the Twin Cities as we head on out the door. And as we widen out, you do see some single single digits up north, even some sub-zero readings in northern Wisconsin. That's a 2 below in Hayward right now. 1 in Ely, 2 in Hibbing, 12 in Wilmer, 12 in Woodward Falls, and some teens, mid-teens in Windham and in Marshall as well. We've got ourselves some cloud cover that's rolling across the area, some very light flakes forming on up on the leading edge of that frontal boundary that's trying to move on by. That'll flesh itself out and try to reach down towards the 94 corridor as it comes down through. This is the pattern that we've been watching for several days now, so this will continue to just reach down into the Twin Cities right around the, again, lunch hour or so, and then behind that, a nice lull, and then some snow showers trying to get going right on into the back part of our evening commute as well. So as we go on into that lunch hour, we'll see what we can manage to get here from late morning into the afternoon, if we can put down any accumulation at all around or just after lunch, and whether or not we get any lingering drizzle behind that. Otherwise, we'll have another chance for some light snow off and on through the overnight hours. We'll be around 30 by 7 o'clock this evening as that second wave of snow approaches. South winds pick up 10 to 15 miles per hour, but we'll start to pick those gusts back up this afternoon and evening and keep the gusts going. 32 for a temperature by around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight with off and on light snow. We'll hold pretty steady in the low 30s until around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Then the temperatures will slide into the upper 20s, and that's where we'll start the day off tomorrow. And then the temperatures continue to fall with off and on light snow that really becomes more off than on. But as the gusts stay up, it'll just stay blustery. We'll have some blowing snow through the day tomorrow as it tapers on off. Again, we'll see what we do midday today, but around an inch plus possible by the time it wraps up in the metro, maybe an inch and a half, with 2 or 3 plus inches in Wisconsin by the time this pushes away Friday night. A cold weekend ahead. We'll look at it on the 7-day forecast. Fox 9 returns right after the break.
Fox Local is Fox 9. Download the new app on your phone today.
Good morning. It's 6:16. Thanks for waking up with the Fox 9 Morning News. I'm Lauren Andrego. Hope your Thursday morning is off to a great start. Your roads are dry this morning. We are crash-free, delay-free. Traffic volume is light like it has been the last few mornings. But if you're driving through St. Paul, you're going to notice more orange cones along 94. This is at Mounds Boulevard, where some big bridge construction is going on. The Kellogg 3rd Street Bridge that they're building over the highway. Construction resumes this weekend, and they're going to need to shut down 94 to continue that construction. So starting tomorrow night, 94 is going to shut down in both directions between downtown 35E, downtown St. Paul, and 694 in Woodbury. This is only going to last until 9 a.m. on Sunday. Now, if you're driving from Woodbury into town, you might be able to pass that 694 closure, but let me tell you, as your friend and as someone who has missed this exit before, take 694. This is going to lead to big backups. Everyone trying to exit onto Johnson Parkway or Mounds Boulevard, which is single lane exit, coming from 4 lanes of traffic. So take this detour, save yourself plenty of time this weekend. Construction will resume through the spring, and we should have a bridge up by this fall over 94. Right now, all your drive times into St. Paul are looking excellent. 15 minutes from Hudson to downtown, 11 minutes from Cottage Grove to 94, 5 minutes from 494 to St. Paul on 35E, 36 looking good as well from the Wisconsin border to Pine Springs. Here's a look at your big map. In the green across the board. We've been holding on to these good drive times for the majority of the morning, and those dry roads certainly help. Tom, I'll have another look at drive times coming up in about 20 minutes.
All right, very good, Lauren. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Time is 6:18. Here's how the trading day ended on Wall Street. Another day in the red. Dow Jones fell 42 points, NASDAQ 238, and the S&P losing 37 points. Butler business on this Thursday morning. A major visa change from the State Department could affect travelers from dozens of countries. The U.S. is suspending visa processing for people from 75 countries, including Iran, Afghanistan, Russia, and Somalia. Officials say the stoppage does not apply to tourists, students, or business visas. This move follows a November order tightening rules for immigrants who could rely on public assistance. The suspension starts January 21st. Verizon says a nationwide outage that impacted customers for hours yesterday has been resolved. The company says anyone still having issues should try to restart their device to reconnect to Verizon's network. Verizon also says they plan to provide account credits for people who were impacted by this outage, and those details will be shared directly with you, the customer. Let's share our weather report with you, our weather customer, with meteorologist Keith Marler, knowing that, yes, it's another cold day that's going to lead us into some precipitation a little later.
Yeah, a little off and on light snow. Maybe for some of us, we could see a wintry mix kind of trail in there in the form of some drizzle, mixing in with some flurries at times this afternoon. 12 degrees out the door right now in the Twin Cities. Southwest winds at 6 miles per hour. Feels like, that's what that says underneath there, feels like 3, as we have a little bit of a breeze out of the southwest at 6 miles per hour. But that breeze is going to pick up the pace today, 10 to 15, but the gusts are going to come back. We got rid of the gusts yesterday morning, but the gusts return later today, and the gusts really just stay with us tonight and into the day tomorrow. And as we get very little light snow going, it's going to cause some blowing snow concerns and some maybe visibility issues into your day on Friday as the light snow flies around. So for today, a little wave of light snow comes in around lunchtime or so. We're going to see how far it can reach to the south and if it can get to the metro area. And kind of the rest of our accumulation forecast is kind of going to be based on what we see around lunchtime today. Will we be able to get a dusting to a half inch around lunchtime? It's possible. Better chance for seeing some light accumulations across our northern viewing area. We'll see what can reach down to the Twin Cities, but we will see some snowflakes fly and maybe even some residual light flurries or some light patchy drizzle or freezing drizzle this afternoon. So watch for some scattered slippery spots this afternoon developing in cloud cover as we have a nice long lull into the afternoon from any accumulating snows. Light snow to the north, however. Temperatures continue to climb into the 20s this afternoon as the breezes pick up the pace. And then by this evening, some light snow returns into the area for parts parts of the evening commute and then off and on through the night tonight as we rise into the lower 30s through the night, then back down into the upper 20s tomorrow morning, and then temperatures plunge through the teens by tomorrow afternoon with off and on periods of light snow, gusty winds, and some blowing snow concerns. Accumulation-wise, again, depending on how much we can get around midday, we could pick up an inch or an inch and a half by tomorrow evening, and then 2 or 3 inches across parts of our Wisconsin zones with some isolated 4s. But again, a lot has to go on here. There's going to be a lot of turbulence in the atmosphere, a lot of blowing snow concerns, and there's just not a lot of moisture to work with. And some of those totals could be actually inflated. Some of us could end up with just barely some covered ground by the time it works its way out of here. By Saturday, we'll see some mostly cloudy sky, still breezy and much colder. We're talking about a lot of just frigid air moving on in for the weekend ahead. So for today, again, 29 by the evening commute with off and on light snow, a burst around lunchtime, a break with some patchy drizzle, and then another round toward the evening and overnight tonight. Temperatures hover in the low 30s through the overnight hours and then plunge through the day on Friday with off and on light snow and gusty breezes taking us off in through the afternoon. Cold over the weekend, breezy high around 8 on Saturday, 14 on Sunday, and then staying cold as we head on into the early parts of next week. Fox 9 returns. We're back after this.
You're watching Fox 9 Morning News at 6 a.m.
Good morning. Welcome back. Just now turning 6:25. Charges are expected today against a daycare worker after an 11-month-old boy died at a Savage daycare.
While nothing can undo what has happened, this arrest brings us closer to answers and accountability.
An 18-year-old woman is now behind bars this morning, accused of suffocating that child last fall. It was in September when Harvey Mucklebus was at the Rocking Horse Ranch child care and stopped breathing. He later died at the hospital. Before that, the same thing happened to a 4-month-old girl at that same daycare on 2 different occasions, but that child survived. Police say the common thread between those incidents was a teenage employee, an 18-year-old who had been at that child care center for just 3 weeks.
This person should never, ever again be free to harm another child.
Investigators say that worker has confessed to all 3 suffocations, admitting she did it to get attention. Now, Fox 9 does not name suspects until charges are filed. We do expect her to be charged today with second-degree murder and attempted murder. Well, new here this morning, NASA successfully completed the first medical evacuation from the International Space Station overnight. The SpaceX crew splashed down off the coast of California just before 3 o'clock this morning. 2 NASA astronauts, along with a Japanese astronaut and Russian cosmonaut, returned to Earth early because of a medical problem for one of the crew members. This weekend, get ready to see a lot of incredible dance performances. The Universal Dance Association's national competition is this weekend in Orlando. Several squads from Minnesota will be competing. You're looking at video from the U of M dance team putting out a show just a couple of days ago in anticipation. Also competing this year, a Minnesota State University Mankato dance team. Here's a picture here with the phrase, "Mavs have arrived." And the University of St. Thomas also put out this hype video, you could say, to get people excited. They were recently named national runner-up in jazz and 6th in hip-hop in 2025 after moving on and up to Division I. The competition will be live streamed, and a bar of their own in Minneapolis will be showing the competition as well. Get ready for some incredible moves. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us.
Now on Fox 9 Morning News.
This is an impossible situation that our city is presently being put in.
Minneapolis leaders are once again pleading with both the federal government and protesters for a return to peace and normalcy in the city after another ICE-involved shooting.
Scary. I've never lived in a time like this. I've never been afraid of my own government before now in my whole life.
That's the one thing we keep hearing over and over from folks here in the Twin Cities, a feeling of fear, how leaders are responding after another night of chaos in Minneapolis.
Live and local all morning. This is Fox 9 Morning News at 6 a.m.
Well, good morning. We do appreciate you waking up with us here on Fox 9 and Fox Local. I'm Kelly O'Connell.
I'm Tom Butler. Let's get over to meteorologist Keith Marler, find out about our weather for the day. Starting out cold yet again, and then a change with precip tonight, Keith.
Indeed, as we have temperatures that are rising, 12 degrees now. We've already had our morning lows in the upper single digits well, we are in the lower teens, but slightly lower. 12 degrees feels like 3. We're going to pick up a gusty breeze today. We're going to have a little round of some mixed or light snow to mixed precipitation around lunchtime today. That's one little round, and then another little round of some light snow that rolls on in this evening and overnight tonight. So again, several little waves of off and on precipitation. Right now, we've got cloud cover around the area. Infrared satellite, hard to pick out from the low clouds versus the ground itself. But as we go through the day, again, we'll have one little round kind of roll through the area, trying to reach down to the 94 corridor around lunchtime or so into the early afternoon. Now, that could also come with some hidden flurries and hidden drizzle or freezing drizzle into the early afternoons. We've got to watch for some scattered slippery spots that will evolve, whether or not you see a flake or a piece of drizzle there. And then another round that rolls on in toward the evening commute and into the overnight. That will be more of a persistent off and on light snow, if you know what I mean. As opposed to a round and then a long break, we'll have several little weaker showers off and on through the night, caught up in gusty breezes, and that's where we put down the bulk of some accumulations. We could pick up a dusting to a ½ inch, might be pushing it around lunchtime. We'll see about that. But then a much better chance to put down some slippery conditions through the night tonight and into early tomorrow morning. So a few light flakes are possible. One round of light snow or a little light drizzly mix around lunchtime, and another round through the night tonight and into parts of the day on Friday. We'll be around 30 by 7, but then we'll keep climbing to the low 30s overnight tonight before we slide through the day on Friday with blustery breezes and off and on light snow. More details coming up over the next 19 minutes. Guys?
Thanks, Keith.
Concern is that yet another shooting will take place. Yet another person will be injured or killed.
Another tense news conference from Minneapolis leaders late last night after ICE agents shoot and injure another person in the city.
It happened last night in the Hawthorne neighborhood on the north side of town, prompting chaotic protests last night well into the evening.
Our Bill Keller is live in Minneapolis with what we know about this developing story. Bill, good morning.
Good morning, Tom and Kelly. In fact, following another violent confrontation involving an ICE agent in Minnesota, the BCA now launching an independent investigation, and this comes after state investigators, you'll recall, were shut out by the FBI, which is now the lead agency looking into last week's deadly shooting of Renee Good. Here's what we know about what happened last night. Now, this is the account according to Homeland Security. They say ICE agents were conducting a traffic stop around 7 p.m. last night. They were targeting a man from Venezuela who was living in the U.S. illegally. They say he drove off, eventually crashing into a parked car, then running off on foot. DHS says that federal officers tried to arrest the man, but he resisted and attacked the officer. Officials say that 2 other people then came out of a nearby home, also attacking the officer. They used a shovel and a broom handle, they say. That's when the agent opened fire, striking the man in the leg. All 3 of the suspects ran into the home. We're told the suspect was later taken to the hospital and expected to survive. The 2 other alleged attackers, they were taken into custody. The officer was also taken to the hospital for treatment. Again, that's information provided from Homeland Security. We do know that minutes after the shooting happened, protesters started gathering at the scene. Our crews were there as Minneapolis police say demonstrators turned violent. They say people began throwing fireworks, rocks, and ice chunks at both police and federal agents. At one point, officers used tear gas to try and disperse the crowd. City leaders addressing the shooting and the scene of what happened there during a news conference held late last night.
I can tell you for certain is that this is not sustainable. This is an impossible situation that our city is presently being put in. And at the same time, we are trying to find a way forward to keep people safe, to protect our neighbors, to maintain order.
Yeah, both the mayor and the police chief condemning the aggressive attacks being used by ICE agents, but they are also encouraging residents to remain peaceful. They want people to be nonviolent if they want to protest this surge in immigration enforcement. Tom and Kelly.
All right, Bill Keller for us there in Minneapolis. Thank you.
Next bill, 6:35 now. The investigations into these two shootings involving federal agents will face intense scrutiny.
She knew her in the Live Center with the very latest on where the legal proceedings stand in both situations now. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. You know, we've heard a lot about how the federal government is blocking the Minnesota BCA from conducting an investigation into the fatal shooting of Renee Good. But so far, it seems like the BCA is being allowed to look into this latest shooting, the one from last night. So just before midnight, the BCA tweeted that its Force Investigation Unit is investigating the shooting and had processed the scene and left that area. The account goes on to say this will be an independent BCA investigation. No further information is available. Meanwhile, the FBI remains the lead and only agency investigating the Renee Good shooting. The BCA says they are not being given any access to that evidence from that scene and that shooting. And that's one of the issues cited in a lawsuit filed by the state of Minnesota and the cities of St. Paul and Minneapolis, trying to block the ICE crackdown here in the state. Yesterday was the first hearing in that case, and the judge denied issuing a temporary restraining order against ICE. But the judge did say this: she is fast-tracking the case, just giving the Justice Department until Monday to issue a response to that lawsuit. Another new legal development here that we have been following: Renee Good's family has hired the same law firm that represented George Floyd's family. Attorneys say they plan to conduct a civil investigation into her death. Now, of course, all of this developing quickly over the last couple days and just the last several hours. So we'll keep you updated if we get any more updates on these stories here, guys.
All right, Chino Forrest there in the Live Center. Thank you.
All right, let's get over to Lauren and Drago, find out about traffic on this Thursday and how things are shaking out for us for our drive to wherever we're headed.
Good morning. Yeah, here at 6:37, traffic is light across the Twin Cities, maybe a little bit lighter than usual for this time of morning, and that's what we've been seeing all week. We also have dry roads, which has been helping us out. Crash-free, delay-free here all across the metro this morning. Good morning to Bloomington. Here's 494 at France Avenue. You can see the highway moving smoothly in both directions, and that includes the crosstown too. Just 10 minutes from the airport to 169 today, 11 minutes in the eastbound direction, and these drive times are looking about as good as they ever get. 16 minutes from Eden Prairie to Egan on 494, 11 minutes in the westbound direction. Your West Metro drive times also looking good if you're headed south today toward 394 from the North Metro, 494, 169, 100, and 94 headed into Minneapolis, all looking good today. Here's a look at your big map. Not much has changed. We're looking good all across the metro at no major issues to let you know about as you step out the door. I'll take another look at your roads and some drive times in about 12 minutes. But let's check in with Keith. He's got a look at your forecast this morning. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning. We have got ourselves a day today that's going to be 28 degrees. Oh, it disappeared. We'll get back to it. 28 degrees by the sunset hour. We're going to go to around 32 as we head on into our evening hours this evening as some light snow returns, but we're going to get a little dash of some midday snow probably around lunchtime. It might mix in with a little bit of a drizzle or a freezing drizzle here and there, but out the door right now, we're still cold, 12. We bottomed out in the upper single digits a little earlier this morning for a good chunk of the metro area. The airport came in with a morning low that was hovering right around 10 at midnight. I don't know if we're going to go down officially as a 10 or an 11 as an official morning low. Cloudy, chilly conditions out the door. By the time the kids are coming home from school, be in the middle 20s, continuing to rise. We're going to cap out probably with a little bit of a thaw at some point before midnight tonight and kind of hover there for a while tonight. But by that point, we'll be probably in our second round of some very light snow by the time we start to thaw on out. By the time the kids are coming home from school, we might have a little bit of fresh dusting to a half inch on the ground if our lunchtime snow pans out. There's still kind of an if there as to how far south that midday snow will get. 12 degrees outside right now, widespread single digits and lower teens across the state. Hayward, one of our few exceptions, still with a minus sign across the coldest air across northern sections of Wisconsin. At the moment, some cloud cover certainly in place. Infrared satellite can't detect all that low-level cloud cover, but it is there, hiding amongst everyone. As we go on through the day, there's that midday snow, a long lull, and then another round of snow rolls on in here toward the back of the evening commute and into our evening plans. But this little around here, you can see it trying to reach down, and this has been consistent in model data for the past 3 days. Everybody's kind of coalescing together as it starts up to the north and then it reaches down the 94 corridor. It just kind of says, hello, Metro. Just gives us a little wave. We've been talking about that now for, I guess, since Monday and Tuesday, how we just kind of around the middle of the day go, hi. Just a little hi through the Metro around lunchtime or so. Whether or not we can get a little dusting to a half inch, it's debatable, as there's, again, so little moisture with this as we go on into the better part. And that's the case not just for this little midday wave, that's for all of this evening, tonight, and into the day tomorrow. So little moisture. We might end up with just some flurries and some patchy drizzle out of this. And because temperatures are cold, drizzle, frozen, slippery glazings going on perhaps this afternoon. So if you do see a little bit more of a drizzle this afternoon, know that it's getting a little extra glazy at times this afternoon too. So afternoon temperatures in the upper 20s. A little round of some flurries, light flakes, maybe some drizzle possible. A little unsettled. Turning breezier and gustier, though, as we go on into the day today. Then we'll rise up into some lower 30s around 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight with another round of some more organized light snow off and on through the night tonight. Falling back down to the upper 20s for tomorrow morning as we go off and on light snow through the day with blustery conditions and blowing snow conditions for your day on Friday. Could see some visibility concerns with some gusts to 30 or 35 miles per hour. And then down to the teens by the end of tomorrow afternoon. Around an inch and a half possible at maximum in the metro. And that's if we get everything that could possibly happen with 2 or 3 plus inches as we go on into our Wisconsin zones overall. But again, not a lot of moisture that we can tap into out of this particular system, but just enough to cause slippery spots, just enough to maybe freshen things up a little bit, guys.
All right. Keith, thank you. Just turning 642, U.S. leadership continues to meet with Danish foreign ministers about Greenland.
The solutions now being discussed with senators, but first let's check in with our Shane Wells. Hi, Shane.
Good morning. Got summer road tripping on my mind. We are checking out the St. Paul RV Super Show. They have packed 200 RVs into the St. Paul River Center this morning. We're going to show you what a starter RV looks like, and then maybe one that's like, I just won the lottery type of RV. That's all coming up after the break.
Fox Local is Fox 9. Download the new app on your phone today. You're waking up with Fox 9 Morning News.
Welcome back. It is 6:45 right now. The largest RV and camping convention in the area kicks off later today inside the St. Paul River Center.
Shane Wells is there this morning with a first look and kicking some of the big tires from the little ones to the big ones. Shane, good morning.
Tom, why are you always asking me to kick tires?
You know,
you don't want me kicking tires out here.
It's just a phrase.
It just comes out.
When you're looking at stuff, you're kicking tires. When it comes to cars and/or RVs, yeah.
Tom's always asking me to destroy things. That's what I hear. Okay, let's get into this. Good morning. Yes, camping show kicking off today. You can kind of take a look here. It's a little hard to give you the scope of how big this is because of, number one, the size of these and then how big this room is. But there's hundreds packed in the St. Paul River Center. We wanted to kind of show you what it looks like kind of at the starter end and then at the luxury end, because that's always a fun game to play. We have Andy Gillen with us. He's from Mark Court RV, which is in Ramsey.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Okay. First off, when it comes to where you can start at, you said this is a good starting point for a lot
Correct.
of people. What does that mean? What do you get for kind of the starter?
Mostly, a lot of times your starters are going to simply be where you're going to have, a place for everybody to sleep, place to eat. A lot of times you're outside camping anyways, so you're outside most of the time anyways.
Okay.
So this particular unit is just something that's going to offer you where, mom and dad have a spot to sleep, the kids have a spot to sleep. If you have a little guest with you, you can always put them on, a dinette also.
I mean, the whole idea, right, is that you're exploring and you're going out in nature, so that makes sense.
Making memories. Making memories.
But of course, we have folks who like maybe more of a glamping type experience.
And we have that to offer also.
And a lot in between, by the way. We're showing you the starter and then the highest end possible. So
high to
just
low.
So you know,
Yep.
yeah, right?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna climb on here. Suraj is gonna follow us in. Tell us about this RV. How big is this thing?
This one here is going to be a little bit of a longer unit for you. So this is going to be something for, somebody who full-time RVs or, is traveling south for the winter and such like that. So this is something that, people will want to live in. So this is going to be a higher end, more of a glamping style camper for you.
For sure. I like when you come in, there are multiple sets of stairs, like multiple levels, multiple bathrooms. In some cases, we were chatting, this is bigger than the first apartment that we had, when we started our adult lives here. You said, though, there are people that are in the market for, this is not a once in a while purchase. People
Correct.
are living this life. I mean, I feel like you could almost live.
There's a lot of people that, they'll, winter down in Texas or Florida or Arizona and then come home and, enjoy the Minnesota summers and such like that.
That sounds nice. For shows like this, I was saying, okay, let's say I walk up and I want this camper or I want this RV. You can essentially have it. I didn't know if there was a big turnaround to get some of these or what the timeline is.
For the most part, we can get it to you pretty quick. Okay. A lot of times we've had people that needed it the same day and, we accommodate them the best we can. We like to do a full show through with our customers so we, can actually show you how everything works.
Yeah, there's a few things to learn here.
Yeah.
I'm guessing a few tricks to it. We even have the fancy sconces going on as well, which I love. Andy, we appreciate the tour. If you guys want to, again, we just popped into 2. There's hundreds here. You can fire off questions at folks who can tell you a little bit more about what is offered here. But you can check this show out. It runs today through Thursday at the St. Paul River Center. I believe it's stpaulrvshow.com. Did I get that right?
Yeah, they believe so.
I believe so. Okay. Whew. Stress off. Back to you guys.
It's a condo on wheels there.
A little fireplace and some cozy chairs. All right. Good stuff, Shane. Thank you.
Nice. All right, 6:50, just past weather on the 9 Center.
Yeah, let's get over to Keith. You got a lot to talk about today, sir.
Indeed, as we have some cloud cover building, returning to the area, and then a couple of chances for several waves of some very light snow or even at times maybe a little mixed precipitation come rolling on into the area as we warm up slowly through the day today into I don't want to oversell it as a brief thaw, because although temperatures will try to tease that, we're not going to do much with it into the overnight hours tonight, and then they're going to plunge through the day tomorrow with some very gusty winds, and it's going to set up for a very cold weekend ahead. At the door right now, we're on our way up 12 degrees. degrees here in the Twin Cities with a light breeze and a very light chill at 3. Wind chill is obviously cold at 3, but all of this is going up through the day today as we have a couple of rounds of some light snow rolling on in. One of them around midday or so, around late morning into early afternoon. We'll call it lunchtime if you like. Maybe at a late lunch into the noon or 1 o'clock hour. A chance for some snow to reach down as a pocket of snow rolls through northern Minnesota, giving kind of a glancing blow down that 94 corridor right on into parts of the metro or the North Metro. This will kind of be the litmus test for us. Will we see a dusting out of this? Maybe a quarter or a half inch out of this? Or will it be just a dud for the Twin Cities? This will kind of prove what we're able to do with everything else this evening, as so much of this and everything behind it isn't bringing much moisture with it. It's coming from the cold reaches of Canada. There's not a lot of moisture with any of this. It's not tapping into much down to the south. So we'll see what we can do with this around lunchtime or so. Some slippery spots will be generated for those of us that see precipitation from the Twin Cities and points north. And lurking behind this in this nice long lull for this afternoon from cloud cover will be some flurries and maybe some drizzle or freezing drizzle. And with temperatures climbing through the mid-20s to upper 20s during this point, anything that is a little drizzle or freezing drizzle, that keyword being freezing, would be some little glazing going on. So watch for some sneaky slippery spots that evolve even if we don't see much in the way of some lunchtime light snowfall. Then this evening and overnight tonight, patchy areas of some very light flakes and flurries fly, off and on light snow, getting gustier and gustier through the night, and then just blustery and raw through your day on Friday. Winds gusting to 30 or 40 miles per hour. Not a lot of snow adds up here, but enough that slippery spots and blowing snow could be a concern through your day on Friday. Wouldn't be surprised to see some temporary winter weather advisories posted just for maybe some visibility concerns in wide open areas of Minnesota, some blowing snow concerns. Again, not for accumulations overall, just for traveling concerns overall for parts of wide open areas of Minnesota, maybe out towards the west or out towards Wisconsin zones overall. And then because kind of clouds linger and breezy and cold, single-digit highs into the day on Saturday. I don't like showing you this map. It's very misleading overall. This is a 2-day, just kind of a, yay. Again, maybe some 2s and 3 clusters across Wisconsin or even in northeastern Minnesota. I don't like that color right there. Well, let's get rid of that color. Some 2s and 3 clusters to the northeast. But see this generic splotchiness of white that's out there? Yeah, splotchiness of white. Just a over the next 2 days of an attempted snow coating. Light flakes fly today, midday, and again this evening, overnight tonight, and into the day tomorrow as these weak waves come on by. We'll try for 32 this evening, around 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. It's a slow climb there. Blustery falling to 28 tomorrow morning, and then that 28 becomes the high tomorrow. Then plunge through the day tomorrow with off and on light snow, but it's more about the snow blowing around than anything else. Then cold this weekend, a high of 8 and breezy Saturday, 16, a couple of morning flurries Sunday, and then a high of 4 for your holiday Monday. I'll have more details coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, but let's check out our morning commute on this Thursday. Lauren?
Good morning. Here at 6:53, we are going to enjoy these dry roads while we have them. Good morning to Circle Pines, 35W at 95th Street near the border of Blaine. 35 is looking good across the board this morning, just about crash free. We have a couple of small incidents slowing us down in a couple of spots. I'll show you one on the crosstown in a second. But if you're headed out the door, stepping on 35W or 35E headed toward Minneapolis and St. Paul, all your drive times looking excellent this morning. 17 minutes from Burnsville to Minneapolis on the Forest Lake side of town, 21 minutes from Forest Lake to Minneapolis. 35E looking good on both sides of St. Paul. We're cleaning up a crash on 62. This is at Tracy near Fairview Southdale. Our eastbound lanes are a little bit backed up this morning, but drive times are looking fine, and this will return to green in the next few minutes. Here's a look at your big map. That is the only crash I see across the board right now. Otherwise looking great if you are stepping out the door right now. Tom and Kelly, I'll have another look at drive times in just a couple minutes.
All right, Lauren, thank you. Well, the co-chairs of the Senate Arctic Caucus met with Danish leaders about the future of Greenland.
This meeting comes as President Trump and his administration continue to insist the U.S. needs control of Greenland. Both the Danish foreign minister and senators say continued talks are necessary to address American security concerns while maintaining Greenland's sovereignty.
I think it's important to send the message that here in the Congress we recognize and support the sovereignty of the people of Greenland.
Senator Murkowski says Denmark is open to adding a U.S. military presence to Greenland the same way we have bases in Qatar and South Korea. But President Trump's social media post yesterday suggests he's still set on the U.S. obtaining control of Greenland. Fears of China and Russia in that scenario.
It is 6:55 right now as we take a live look outside for us this morning. Waking up together on a Thursday. You're watching the Fox 9 Morning News. We'll be right back.
Good morning. It's 6:58. Thanks for waking up with the Fox 9 Morning News. As we approach 7 a.m., we are crash-free, delay-free, no big issues as you step out the door across the Twin Cities. We're also waking up to dry roads once again across the metro and across the entire state of Minnesota. That's what MnDOT is reporting this morning. Good morning to Maple Grove. Take a look at this shot. 94 at Dayton Parkway heading southeast toward the Twin Cities. Just a little sliver of that beautiful sunrise this morning. Traffic picking up here, but nothing you need to know about, and really not even seeing brake lights this morning on 94 or on any of your routes around the metro. 20 minutes from Monticello to Maple Grove this morning on 94. We're just starting to slow down on Highway 10, but no problems coming in from Forest Lake. From Highway 8 to 694, 17 minutes on 35W, 15 minutes on 35E. Here's a look at your map. We are problem-free, drama-free, just cleaning up one crash on the crosstown. You can see a little bit of a delay here as we zoom into the core of your map. We'll try to show you that in a couple of minutes. There it is. That's a little backup right there on the crosstown that is getting cleared as we speak. I'll have another look at your roads and drive times coming up in about 15 minutes. And the Fox 9 Morning News at 7 starts right now.
Now on Fox 9 Morning News.
There is one person that's been shot. It is a non-life-threatening injury, and they have been transported to the hospital.
ICE agents shoot a man during immigration enforcement efforts last night in Minneapolis, the second shooting in a week.
This is not okay. This is not the country my dad fought for. This is a disgrace.
Protesters clashing with police in the wake of the shooting, leading to a chaotic scene overnight.
You are not powerless. You are not helpless. And you are certainly not alone.
Now the governor sharing ways Minnesotans can help each other during these very tense times. The Fox 9 Morning News at 7 starts now.
Live and local all morning. This is Fox 9 Morning News at 7 a.m.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome to the broadcast, 7 o'clock hour of the Fox 9 Morning News. Good to see you. I'm Tom Butler.
And I'm Kelly O'Connell. We want to start things off here at 7 o'clock with meteorologist Keith Marler. Another cold start to the day and maybe some changes coming our way.
Indeed. As we are slowly warming, we'll go back to the lower 30s, but not until this evening. In between now and then, we actually have a couple of rounds of precipitation heading our way. One of them around lunchtime today. Out the door right now, some cloud cover building. It's chilly. Temperature around 12, which is pretty close to average. Morning low is around 9. We actually dabbled close to there back a few hours ago. Now we're on our way back up slowly to temperatures in the lower 30s, but probably not until well after the sun goes down this evening. Cloud cover continues to build. Around lunchtime, we'll have a wave of some light snow pass by the metro with another round rolling on by towards your evening commute and overnight tonight. But it's a glancing blow around lunchtime. We'll see what we can get out of that around the noon or the 1 o'clock hour, maybe as early as 11 a.m. But again, we'll see if we can get anything from a dusting to an aggressive amount would be a ½ inch, but enough to cause some slippery spots if we can tap into that moisture. We might see a few lingering flurries or maybe even some patchy drizzle caught up in this cloud cover for the better part of our afternoon and early evening. And then in through the evening commute, we'll start to see some more very sporadic light flakes fly, and that'll take us off and on through the overnight hours tonight and into your day on Friday. So for today, we'll be around 30 by 7 p.m., which means the day will be frozen. Then we'll dabble up to temperatures close to freezing by the overnight hours tonight. So some midday light flakes and maybe a little bit of a light drizzle or freezing drizzle into the early afternoon. Then light snow returns by this evening's commute and into the overnight hours. Overnight temperature hovers near freezing from around 8 or 9 o'clock tonight through just after midnight. And then temperatures slide back down to the upper 20s by tomorrow morning's commute. And then they fall from the upper 20s down to the teens across the day with periods of off and on light snow. By the time this wraps up, an aggressive amount of accumulation would be an inch or inch and a half in the Twin Cities, probably less than that, but probably anywhere from 2 to 3+ inches of snow deeper into our Wisconsin zones and up across northeastern Minnesota. That's possible. I'll have all the details coming up over the next 19 minutes. Guys?
Keith, thank you.
ICE can leave, and this massive deployment can come to an end. We have filed litigation to hopefully make it so, and at the same time, I'm deeply concerned that we don't have that kind of time. This is already the second shooting that we've had in a week. People are scared. The atmosphere is tense. But again, there is another option. We can stop going down this route together.
Minneapolis leaders once again pleading for calm after ICE agents shoot and injure another person in the city. Federal officials say that agent was, quote, ambushed before pulling the trigger.
Well, this happened last night in the Hawthorne neighborhood on the north side of the city, and it prompted violent protests that lasted well into the night.
Bill Keller live for us in Minneapolis with what we know about this developing story. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, that shooting triggered another tense and chaotic scene in Minneapolis following another violent confrontation involving ICE agents. Last night's shooting happening in a residential neighborhood. This is near Lyndale and 24th Avenue. It's in the city's near north side. According to Homeland Security, ICE agents were conducting a traffic stop. This is around 7 o'clock last night. They say they were targeting a man from Venezuela who is living in the U.S. illegally. They say he drove off, eventually crashed into a parked car before running off on foot. DHS says that a federal officer tried to make an arrest, but the man resisted, attacking that officer. Officials say that 2 people then came out of a nearby home and also began assaulting the officer with a shovel and a broom handle. That's when the agent opened fire, striking the man in the leg. All 3 ran inside. We're told that the suspect was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. The 2 other alleged attackers, they were taken into custody. As for the officer, he was also taken to the hospital for treatment. Again, this is the account and the information coming from Homeland Security. City leaders holding a news conference late last night to address the shooting.
American citizens, by the way, many of them, are terrified. Because American citizens are getting picked up off the street by people in masks. That's not the way things should be conducted in any city in America. That's not who we are. That's not America. So I'm calling for peace. Everybody has a role in achieving that peace.
Yeah, minutes after the shooting happened, though, protesters began gathering at the scene, and Minneapolis police say that the demonstrations turned violent. They say that people were throwing things, setting off fireworks, throwing rocks, even chunks of ice at both Minneapolis police and those federal agents. The officers used tear gas to try and disperse the crowd. During the chaos, one man says ICE agents targeted his vehicle while his 6 children were inside. He says there was a flashbang that was so powerful it set off his airbags.
Officers threw flashbangs and tear gas in my car and made I got 6 kids in the car. My 6-month-old can't even breathe. My 2-year-old flipped out the damn car. This was flipped over. My car filled with tear gas. I'm trying to pull my kids out the car.
Yeah, that man says that his family was simply trying to leave the area when they were attacked. He says his wife told Fox 9 that their 6-month-old infant had actually stopped breathing and lost consciousness at one point. We're told they were transported by ambulance, and they are currently in the hospital being treated. Tom and Kelly.
All right, Bill Keller for us there live. Thank you.
Long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. Instead, it's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government.
Now, just before news of another ICE shooting involved shooting Governor Tim Walz making that prime-time plea last night to end the ICE enforcement surge.
The governor echoing what he said after Renee Good was shot last week, acknowledging people are angry, but says everyone must remain peaceful.
Chinu Hur is in our live center with more on the governor's message and response. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Tom and Kelly. Governor Walz once again said that the federal government is looking for a reason to use force on protesters and then further crack down on Minnesota. He also asked people to help document ICE agents' interactions and actions, and alluded to the possibility of prosecuting them in the future.
I want to share another way you can help. Witness. Help us establish a record of exactly what's happening in our communities. You have an absolute right to peacefully film ICE agents as they conduct these activities. So carry your phone with you at all times. And if you see these ICE agents in your neighborhood, take out that phone and hit record. Help us create a database of the atrocities against Minnesotans, not just to establish a record for posterity, but to bank evidence for future prosecution.
Right now, the BCA is not investigating the Renee Good shooting. That's in the hands now of the FBI. But the BCA says they were working on the scene of the shooting last night in Minneapolis. Responding to Governor Walz's address there, this is the Minnesota House Speaker here, Lisa Damuth, also running for governor here in Minnesota. She says Governor Walz could have spent tonight coordinating with ICE to honor detainers and keep criminals off our streets. Instead, he chose to go on TV and repeat tired talking points to appease activists who want to prevent deportation of even the most heinous criminals. Minnesota deserves better. Now, we're also hearing from several Minnesota Republicans about an effort to impeach Governor Walz. We have that draft articles there of the impeachment from the Minnesota House Research Department available on our website. You can go there to read it in full. That's at fox9.com, along with more on how that process works in our state. Guys.
All right, Chinu for us there in the live center. Thank you.
7:09 now, and new this morning, Attorney General Pam Bondi says she fired several federal prosecutors here in Minnesota because they would not support ICE. Our cameras caught now former federal prosecutor Joe Thompson apparently packing up his belongings from his office yesterday. Thompson has led fraud investigations here in Minnesota, but the New York Times reported he resigned this week because the Justice Department wanted him to investigate Renee Good's widow. Now, during an interview on Fox News, Bondi claims she fired Thompson and 5 other prosecutors, saying they wanted to resign and use their time off to keep getting paid until April.
Fox 9 has full coverage of all of the ICE activities across the state right now on our website, fox9.com, to see all of it. And of course, we will continue with it as it develops.
Let's take a look at what to expect weather-wise for today. And a little warmer, 30 is what Keith is saying. That's by 7 o'clock this evening for the high temperature. We'll see some light snow and a mix of midday precipitation into the evening. Keith isn't thinking this will be a huge event, certainly, but certainly can cause some issues out there if you're driving around, some slippery spots here and there. We'll check in with Keith coming up in weather on the 9s at 7:19.
All right, we are going to take a quick break here as we take a look back at Adam Thielen's impressive time in the NFL, as he is calling it a career.
Plus, could online shopping be the cause of high stress levels in our lives? A new study finding that too much scrolling for deals could be detrimental to our health. Stay right there. We are coming right back.
Fox Local is Fox 9. Download the new app on your phone today.
Welcome back. Good to have you along. 7:13 is the time. SpaceX 11 crew astronauts are back on Earth this morning after safely splashing down off the coast of California.
Their return, though, comes after a medical concern forced NASA to end this mission about a month early. Sarah Alegre is live for us in San Diego, California. And Sarah, this is a return of first of its kind, definitely not expected.
Yeah, good morning, Kelly and Tom. Yeah, this is a first of its kind when we're looking at the International Space Station. I mean, it's the first of its 25-year history when NASA has to conduct some kind of medical evacuation, and that all started around yesterday afternoon. They undocked from the ISS, made their 10-hour journey here to San Diego, and they have successfully splashed down off the coast this morning. Now, guys, the focus is on getting the astronaut in need the medical attention.
Spaceflight will always carry some degree of uncertainty. That is the nature of exploration. Fundamentally, it's why we're in space, to learn. It's why NASA prepares for the unexpected, so we are ready to respond decisively and safely. The successful return of Crew 11 is a direct result of that preparation.
Yes, the Crew 11 made up of NASA astronauts Mike Fink, Zena Cardman, along with Japanese astronaut Kimiya Yui and Russian cosmonaut Oleg Pletinov. NASA says this isn't an emergency evacuation. The astronaut is stable, but they're not sharing which astronaut it is for privacy reasons. The signs to cut the mission short first came last week after NASA canceled the first spacewalk of 2026. NASA says this was a precaution, and the best way to get a full checkup is right here on the ground.
We should have had a medical evacuation approximately every 3 years in that 25-year history, and we've not had one to date. And even in this case, we're erring on the side of caution.
Yeah, and Crew 11 undocked yesterday afternoon in the same SpaceX Dragon capsule that brought them to the ISS back in August. Thrusters fired off early this morning, slowing the capsule before splashdown off Southern California. That was at 1 a.m. our time. The crew was then flown by helicopters to shore after medical checks on the recovery ship. Now they're off to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. So with Crew 11 back on Earth, the ISS is currently shortly understaffed, but they do know that'll change very soon. Crew 12 getting ready to take off and join the several astronauts. There are 4 total up at the ISS. That'll happen this time next month, February 15th. Tom Kelly, back to you.
Sarah, thank you. Appreciate that live report from California.
All right, let's get over to Lauren and Draco and find out what's going on with our traffic right now.
We have one crash this morning, just one, across the Twin Cities, not causing too much of a backup. It is in Cottage Grove, Highway 61 at Jamaica Avenue. You might also know this route as Highway 10. A couple of vehicles involved in a crash this morning. It looks like there might have been a merging issue. One ended up in the ditch. We do have an ambulance on the scene, so not sure if this was a medical emergency or if they're just checking people out. But as you can see, a couple vehicles on the road here, one blocking our left lane of traffic. Things are quiet here in the Southeast Metro this time of morning, so not a backup in either direction, and it's not impacting your drive time into St. Paul this morning. All your drive times into St. Paul still in the green, including 9 minutes from 95 in Lake Elmo to 694, 16 minutes from Hudson to St. Paul. Highway 10, as you can see, 11 minutes from Jamaica Avenue, where that crash is, to 94, no backup there this morning, and 35E is looking good. 6 minutes from 494 to St. Paul. Here's a look at your big map. Looking good across the board. No other crashes to show you right now. If you're headed out the door, even to Minneapolis and St. Paul, all your drive times in the clear. I'll have another look at drive times coming up in about 20 minutes. Tom?
All right, Lauren, thanks so much. Appreciate it. 7:17 is the time. Butler Business for you on this Thursday morning. Existing home sales made big gains last month. The National Association of Realtors says the increase was 5.1%, 5.1. That's more than double what economists were predicting. The group's chief economist says the higher sales were essentially driven by lower interest rate conditions. Online shopping could lead to higher stress levels. Just in. The report found internet shopping is more strongly linked to stress than reading the news or your work emails. German researchers studied the internet habits of nearly 1,500 people. This was over a 7-month period. Using a tracking program, it showed where they scrolled and for how long they scrolled. The team compared data and concluded time spent online shopping was associated with increased stress. First, it's probably the dopamine. I've got a deal, I'm going to get it. And then you hit that final button and then you realize, now I have to pay for it. Forgot about that part. Meteorologist Keith Marler is in, and we're talking that will de-stress you. That picture right there, White Bear Lake, that's a good looking shot, Keith.
Isn't that pretty? That would be nice if it were, I don't know, I'd take another 60 degrees on top of this. Current temperature outside right around 12 degrees as we walk on out the door this morning. But, you know, it's cold, it's frozen. Certainly we're going to be frozen for the better part of the next several days. We might tease a very brief thaw tonight, probably around 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight or so. As we cap out, we'll stay hovering around the 32, 33 marker, and then we'll kind of zip back down again as we go on into some gustier breezes tonight and in through especially the day tomorrow. With that comes some very little moisture as a couple of frontal boundaries move on by. An occluded front comes on by, an area of low pressure, a cold front, a couple of weak troughs of low pressure come on through. It's kind of a cavalcade of mess, but not a lot of moisture associated with all that. Just enough sticks in the mud to try to stir things up, but just like any old mud, you're just not able to move it a lot. So teens outside right now. Here's the occluded front. Behind that is technically some warmer air, yes, but you go from 29 in Bismarck to 15 in Fargo to 50 in Rapid City and 53 in Billings. But it's moving through, but not bringing a lot of oomph with it. So the end result is a system that is bringing gusty breezes. Those are wind advisories and wind warnings across a good chunk of the Dakotas, back down through portions of Nebraska and out towards Montana and Wyoming. Some snow across the Canadian border there, and as the system moves across the area and dives down across the area overall, this snow shower action we see up to the north kind of begins to reach down towards the 94 corridor and gives us a glancing blow into the Twin Cities around lunchtime or so. And we've got a chance for a few light flakes and flurries around the lunch hour into the 1 and the 2 o'clock hour perhaps. We have an opportunity to get some slippery spots going, maybe a dusting to maximum a ½ inch. And depending on how that shapes up, that kind of gives us a little bit more of a litmus test as to what we'll get tonight and into tomorrow in terms of accumulation. Also a little chance for some drizzle this afternoon, hiding among some cloud cover. So put it together then, as we reach into the lunch hour, we'll reach with that snow down into the Twin Cities, into the maybe as early as 11 with some flurries, but noon or 1 o'clock this afternoon, we'll see a little dash of a little light flakage. We'll see what we put down there. I'm really curious as to what can accumulate at that point, whether it be just a trace or up to a quarter or a ½ inch. Again, some slippery spots evolve, whether it be from some snow or a little light mix, an icy mix this afternoon. We'll see about that, hiding amongst the cloud cover as we go on into the afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the 20s day side today, but they'll continue to climb as we go on into the evening and overnight tonight. Some light snow returns during the back of the evening commute, and then just off and on light snow showers across the area tonight. Temperatures will hold initially in the lower 30s, then fall back to the upper 20s tomorrow morning, and then down to the teens by tomorrow afternoon. Put it together then, late day high of 32, probably around 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. Off and on light flakes. There'll be a chance around lunchtime, another chance this evening. A little bit of a light freezing drizzle possible in the metro in between. Then light snow tonight and tomorrow. The 20s fall down to the teens. Grand totals in the metro, maybe an inch or an inch and a half at best. Wisconsin zones towards northwest Wisconsin, northeastern Minnesota. You could see 2 or 3 plusers out there. And then we're looking at single digits for Saturday, a frigid day, gusty breezes, and then sub-zero morning lows and highs only around 4 by your holiday Monday. The Fox 9 Morning News will return. We're back right after the break.
You're waking up with Fox 9 Morning News.
Good morning. Welcome back. 7:25 right now. A Minnesota sports icon is officially calling it a career. Former Viking star Adam Thielen retiring from the NFL after 13 seasons. He made the announcement yesterday, officially. He joined the Vikings as an undrafted free agent from Minnesota-St. Mankato, quickly becoming one of the best receivers in franchise history. After a dominating 14-0 performance against Finland on Tuesday, the U.S. women's under-18 hockey team moves on to the quarterfinals today. They are set to take on Hungary at the tournament in Nova Scotia at 3 o'clock our time. If they win this one, they then move on to the semifinals on Saturday. Good luck. Much more to come here on the Fox 9 Morning News, including the largest RV show in the area. Right now, taking over St. Paul, and Shane Wells is there for us this morning. Not a bad life right there, Shay.
It is a maze of RVs. Yeah, I saw the camping chair. It just felt right. You know what I mean. This is the St. Paul RV Super Show. There are hundreds. We are going to pop into as many as we can, show you what's trending right now, what are people buying and looking for, and just kind of some of the fun luxury perks that, you know, we can dream a little, right? That's all coming up for you after the break.
Down. Welcome back to the Fox 9 Morning News. Now here's your weather on the 9s.
Welcome back this morning. Now that's pretty right there. That's some gorgeous little glow. Our sun comes up in about 17 minutes. 7:47 this morning, our sunrise as we head on out the door. Some cloud cover thickening up and Patient of some lovely little light snow showers that are going to come a-calling, maybe even mixing in with a little bit of drizzle or freezing drizzle at times for parts of the southern half of the state, including the metro area, as round one of snow is really trying to reach down out of the north to get to us here in the metro. Some of us around the Twin Cities might actually just miss out on that midday snow at all, which means you have to wait all the way until this evening to get some snowflakes, and I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. 12 degrees outside right now with a light wind, feels like 0 at the moment, so we do have a bit of a chill. We'll warm up to around 15 by 9 o'clock, 22 by noon, and noontime, give or take, on either side of noon into the early afternoon would be round one of snow if it can get as far south as the metro area. Central and northern Minnesota get some light snow into the late morning, early afternoon. We'll try it here in the metro. We might get a dusting to a ½ inch in this round one. We'll see. Otherwise, once it exits, we'll keep some cloud cover around for the afternoon, get to the mid-20s, turning awfully gusty. Sustained winds 10 to 15, but then random gusts will just go, I want to be 25 or 30 miles an hour. Staggering around. We all know that relative that staggers and shouts. I might be that relative. But as we go through the afternoon, some random drizzle or freezing drizzle is possible. Then as we go to the evening, the next round of several opportunities for snow start to move through. These come through a little quicker. Just off and on pulses of some snow continue through the night. We'll end up around 32 by 8 or 9 o'clock tonight, and we'll hover there for a while before we slide back to the upper 20s tomorrow morning, and then off and on light snow through the day on Friday with very blustery conditions as temperatures fall through the day. We'll end up with around an inch or an inch and a half of snow in the metro by the time it wraps up tomorrow afternoon. Maybe anywhere from 2 to 3+ inches of snow, though, off across our far eastern and northeastern sections of the viewing area. More details over the next 19 minutes. The Fox 9 Morning News continues right now.
Now on Fox 9 Morning News at 7 a.m.
Good to have you along, and thanks for waking up with Fox 9 Morning News. And on Fox Local, always streaming live, I'm Tom Butler.
And I'm Kelly O'Connell. It is 7:32. Want to get you caught up on what has happened overnight and this morning. We know the BCA is right now investigating another shooting involving ICE agents here in the metro. This happened, the most recent happened last night in the Hawthorne neighborhood of Minneapolis. That is a residential neighborhood right near Lyndale Avenue North. You see it on the map there. Homeland Security says an ICE agent was conducting a traffic stop right around 7 o'clock last night, targeting a man from Venezuela. DHS says the man drove off, eventually crashing into a parked car. Federal agents, they say, then tried to arrest that man, but the man resisted. They claim he and 2 people who came out of a nearby home then attacked officers, and that is when the agent shot the man in the leg. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara says the man is expected to survive, and the other 2 people involved are right now in custody.
Minutes after the shooting, protesters gathered at that scene. Minneapolis police say fireworks, rocks, and chunks of ice were all thrown at officers. Tear gas and flashbangs were used to try to disperse the unruly crowd.
ICE operations and the ensuing chaos here in the Twin Cities has definitely had an impact on our local schools. Minneapolis Public Schools, we already know, has been offering virtual learning for students who feel unsafe. Now, St. Paul Public Schools will be doing the same, offering virtual options. Registration for that option is opening up today. The first day for those going virtual, if needed, is next Thursday. To prepare for this switch, the district is canceling school on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
All right, 7:34. We'll look at some of the other things happening today. The Minneapolis City Council will meet this afternoon, and one of the issues they'll be taking up, a proposed eviction moratorium. The council members behind the ordinance say many employees are too afraid to go to work right now, putting paychecks in jeopardy and therefore risking eviction. If it's passed, it would pause all eviction proceedings until ICE is finished in the city.
The union representing nearly 2,000 Health Partners workers will announce the results of a strike vote today. A news conference with those results set for 9:30 this morning. The strike would include nearly all caregivers at Health Partners other than doctors and dentists, so people like nurses, hygienists, lab techs, physician assistants, and others. It is 7:35 right now. A show here in St. Paul will have you craving an outdoor adventure.
It is the RV Super Show. It's one of the largest in the area, and doors open today at noon. But Shane Wells, she knows some people over there. She got in this morning, and she's checking out the RVs that are crammed into the River Center, and they are impressive, to say the least. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning, Tom. It's a
Good morning. They are packed in here. There's a lot to see, kind of all the different price ranges and sizes, which is kind of fun to compare and contrast. We're doing a little bit of that this morning for you. We have Mike Pirro. He's with Hilltop RV. They are in Fridley, but then they have other locations outside the Twin Cities as well. Several out there. Okay, first up, thank you for having us. We appreciate it. You've got a lot of RVs and options here, but we were just talking about it's more than just RVs too. If you want to pop on and see those, great, but other options.
Yeah, there's campgrounds, there's vendors. I've seen pontoon boats here, so there's quite a bit to see here.
Okay, let's talk about this one. We're going to kind of focus on family options.
Yeah.
In this segment, this one, I got to be honest, as a mom, this little feature here, you said some people go, wait, why would you want a door right to the bathroom?
Right.
This is
Yeah.
genius.
Some people see that and go, well, this is weird. But when you're out camping and the kids are out running around and they get dirty, do you want them running all the way through the camper to get to the bathroom?
No.
Right into the bathroom,
right in there. So that's actually a genius addition. Okay, Suraj, we'll let you lead the way to get on here. This one, pricing wise.
Yeah. So talking about family campers, very affordable family campers. This is a pretty large one here with a front queen bedroom, a bunk room in the back. Price-wise, we have a show special of $29,995 on this.
Okay.
So
and you can sleep a lot of people in
here.
here.
A lot of people, yeah. So you have not only a bunk room back there with 4 to 5 bunk beds, then you've got a couch that makes into a bed. You've got a dinette that can make into a bed. So yeah, you really can sleep quite a few people in here.
Okay, we're gonna kind of show you the starter option as well. Here, we'll hop off first and let Suraj check out the queen bedroom. Right now in the world of RVs and camping, what are people kind of gravitating toward?
Yeah, well, the family segment is very popular.
Okay.
So the one we're going to go to next is like you said, is the entry level, very affordable, very lightweight, very easy to tow. So most people have a vehicle that can tow this camper.
Yes, this is the one right here, Suraj. Okay, tell us about this one.
Yeah, so this is, like I said, very lightweight camper, under 3,000 pounds, has a couple of bunk beds along with a queen bed up front, and then, of course, has all the amenities you need. You know, has the bathroom, has air conditioning, has your furnace, hot water, you know, really everything you need, just in a nice, small, easy-to-tow package.
So then, like, what would be generally kind of a price for something like this? Just so
this one we have a show special of $12,995.
$12,000.
Yeah, so under $150 a month, very affordable.
Okay, and when it comes to planning out your summer and your road trips, and I mean, when you talk about hotels and all these other things, you start to go, huh, maybe this isn't so bad if you have the right.
Right, yeah, the nice thing about taking something like this is you can bring all your own food. You have, you know, you have all your own things with you, so you really can travel pretty inexpensively.
Love it. Thanks for the tour, Mike. We appreciate it.
Thank
nice
you.
Work, Suraj. Maneuvering lots of stairs today, lots of tight turns, A+ effort there. If you guys want to check it out, show opens up today. It runs through Sunday right here at the St. Paul River Center. It is free to attend as well.
Very good. And maybe special financing. You never know. It's possible.
It's crazy. You can fit all those in. Wasn't it just last weekend that they had the hockey expo?
That's
I mean,
true.
it is.
It happens quick
They
over
move
there.
things in and
Oh,
out
yeah.
so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get over to Lauren. Hopefully we are moving quickly out on the roads and things are looking pretty good.
Yeah, we definitely are. We have been all morning long here across the Twin Cities. Here's a look at 394 and Penn Avenue. The sun has just come up and traffic's moving smoothly in and out of Minneapolis. All your drive times looking good. Across the metro this morning, we have dry roads and very little crashes or incidents to tell you about this morning. Just starting to slow down between Woodbury and St. Paul, and those backups will continue today, tomorrow, and throughout the weekend because we do have a full closure of 94 coming to St. Paul tomorrow between 35E and 694. 94 will be closed down in both directions. 694 through the Little Canada area is going to be your detour through 9 a.m. Sunday. Now in the westbound direction, it might be possible that these lanes will be open. I recommend taking the detour. There are usually massive backups headed in and out of downtown St. Paul when they do this bridge work. So just keep that in mind. You might get a little slowed down as you're headed in and out of St. Paul during your weekend plans. Here's your big map. No big crashes to show you at the moment. Just a couple routes we're slowing down on. 35W through Burnsville and 169 through Shakopee are a couple of them. I'll have another look at drive times in about 20 minutes, and Keith has a look at your forecast in 15 seconds.
Minnesota Vikings.
About 7 minutes away from sunrise this morning. Beautiful glow out there as the cloud cover thickens on up, as we have a few rounds of some light precipitation headed our way over the next couple of days, mainly in the form of snow, but we could mix in a little bit of mix in there at times midday today. 12 degrees and warming, cloudy, chilly conditions as we are slowly warming up to the mid-20s as the kids come home from school. By this point, we should be on the other side of one attempted round of some light snow or a light drizzle or a freezing drizzle around or just after lunchtime today. And then more light snow showers rolling on in here this evening, and that takes us off and on through the night tonight and into the day on Friday as some gusty breezes pick up, and we're warming up ultimately to the lower 30s after the sun goes down this evening. 12 degrees right now in the metro, single digits in Brainerd, St. Cloud, Cambridge, Hinckley up through Hayward, Duluth, Ely, Hibbing coming in at 3 degrees this hour, but widespread teens in southern and southwestern Minnesota as some southern flow rolling on in here between 5 and 15 miles per hour, even up to 20 miles per hour in western Minnesota kicks in, and it's that southern flow that is warming us on up through the day today, ultimately bringing us into the lower 30s and a very brief thaw toward the late evening hours and parts of the overnight. We'll hover in those lower 30s for much of the night, and then the winds change direction. They come out of the northwest, and then we go back down again through the day tomorrow with blustery and gusty winds. Will cause some blowing snow concerns as that snow is falling in and out of the day tomorrow. For today, though, cloud cover is in place. We see some light snow on the international border rolling on by. This is going to kind of get its act together and kind of reach down toward the Twin Cities, trying to pick up a little bit of moisture as it does so, and ultimately into southeastern Minnesota. And then some more snow rolls our way as we'll start to pick up some bands and some waves of snow. So this little round through the Twin Cities might just try to reach all the way down toward us in the maybe as early as 11, but probably in the noon or the 1 o'clock hour rolling on by. We'll see what we can get out of that in the Twin Cities as it develops near and over us. Anything from a dusting to up to a ½ inch is possible if it can get its gumption going, but we'll see what slippery spots can evolve as we go on into that midday snow. We could have a nice long lull there afterwards, but hiding in the cloud cover afterwards, some flurries and some patchy drizzle or freezing drizzle could still lurk. And then there's our evening opportunity right there rolling on through the back end of the evening commute, and that's just the beginning of what would be off and on light snow showers through the overnight hours. So into the upper 20s for your evening commute, a band of snow around lunchtime, and then more snow possible toward the evening commute and afterwards through the night. We'll warm up to the lower 30s initially overnight tonight with off and on light snow, and then back down to the upper 20s for the start of the day tomorrow for your early morning lows as the sun's beginning to come up, and then down to the teens for tomorrow afternoon with gusty breezes. It's all about the blowing snow concerns. Accumulation wise, depending on what we get midday today to start us off, we can end up with an inch or an inch and a half by tomorrow evening in the metro, but 2, 3, or even maybe some 4s across our northeastern viewing area by the time this wraps up tomorrow. 7-day forecast shows you a cold weekend ahead. I'll have more details coming up in 7 minutes. The Fox 9 Morning News continues right after this break.
Fox Local is Fox 9. Download the new app on your phone today.
downtown Minneapolis.
You're watching Fox 9 Morning News at 7 a.m.
Well, good morning. Take a look at the screen. Just a beautiful start to your day here at 7:46 over Minneapolis. We'll take it. It's going to be cold and some snow might be coming our way, but enjoy the sun while you can get it right now. A group of Minnesota farmers warning about the economic damage caused by the recent ice surge. They say even legal immigrant workers are hesitant to show up to work. And while there hasn't been a whole lot of ICE activity reported in some of these farming operations, we do know agents detained a worker in Wilmer who was leaving a shift at the Genio, the factory this week. There have also been some operations around dairy farms. And labor shortages are a common complaint from farmers, and they say they usually need help from abroad to get the planting done through the harvest. In fact, the Center for Migration Studies found that 40 to 55% of the country's farm workers are undocumented migrants. And even with no crops in the ground right now, Minnesota farmers say they're worried they'll have a struggle to get workers when they need them.
Especially if you're planting crops, you get a short window to get their crop planted, and if that process is delayed even farther, they might get you when it's too late. So it's definitely going to have an effect on them.
The exact financial impact here on Minnesota is still unclear. Farmers, though, are bracing for potential losses similar to those seen in California, where ice was surging in 2025. Farms there report more than $3 billion in crop losses.
All right, we're thinking about the weather. We saw that beautiful sunrise across Minneapolis this morning with the beautiful golds and yellows out there. We need something positive, certainly. That's a good looking shot on that.
I'll take it. It does have a little bit of a bite out there.
A little bit.
It did yesterday, too.
No doubt
I had to
about it.
remind my kids, oh, no, we have to bundle up. My daughter was like, I'll just grab this jacket. I'm like, nope, forget about what Monday and Tuesday were. This is a different day.
It's a very different.
Different deal.
Yeah.
Also a big difference between having the sun just below the horizon and having the illumination coming up at the clouds and having the sun above the horizon, and then we lose that illumination under the clouds. So now that it's just looks like some clouds. Not quite as pretty, is it?
Not really.
Yeah. It's just us now. Hey, clouds. How you doing? Hey. At least we see the sun, though. 12 degrees, southwest winds at 8 miles per hour. Give us a wind chill around 0. Dew point above 0. We got that going for us. We'll get a little moisture going up in the atmosphere for us today. That's going to fall back down as some a little light snow, maybe a little light drizzle or mist. Could see some icing going on with that as well this afternoon. Heads up there as we put a little glaze on some things, whether it be from some slippery conditions from this midday snow and then some more snow rolling on in toward the evening hours. Again, we've talked about that for a few days now. Several waves of this precipitation. This isn't really one large clipper that rolls on by. This is really a convoluted low that has an occluded front, a couple of troughs, a weak cold front, and then a few weak waves circulating around it. So wave 1, if you want to call it that, comes in around lunchtime or so. Could see some flurries as early as 11, but then in the noon and the 1 o'clock hour, this little wave is really across northern and central Minnesota. It's going to try to reach down into the Twin Cities with that moisture. So we might see some light accumulations around or just after lunchtime. We'll see what we can get. Dusting to a half inch. Half inch would be really aggressive just into the early afternoon, but some drizzle or freezing drizzle or flurries could linger in the cloudy zones just after that. But we'll see what we do around lunchtime. If we could get up to a half inch, well, we're doing pretty good getting accumulations going. That would be a bulk of what we're going to see over the next couple of days right there as we go on through. But a dusting plus is certainly enough to cause slippery spots for the rest of the afternoon with that extra little drizzle. Then into the evening and overnight hours, off and on very light snow, but it does ultimately start to add up through the night tonight. Blustery breezes will cap out in the low 30s for much of the night, then fall into the 20s tomorrow morning, and then continue to plunge to the teens with gusty breezes to 30 plus miles per hour through the day tomorrow. So regardless of what falls, it all gets blown around, causing some visibility issues through the day tomorrow and just slippery spots off and on through the day. An inch to an inch and a half of snow possible here in the Twin Cities as we go through the end of this with maybe 2 to 3 plus, maybe some 4s across our northeastern viewing area overall. And then just cold, single-digit highs as we go on into the day on Saturday. Again, those higher amounts, really the 2, 3s or more is across our northeastern viewing area. But for the rest of us, generic splotchiness of 1, 1.5, maybe some isolated 2s. But a lot of folks just enough to cover things up, just enough to cause slippery spots. So for today, a late day high high of 32, probably not until 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. Then back down to 28 tomorrow morning, which continues to fall to the teens tomorrow afternoon. A midday burst of snow or slipperiness, then evening and overnight snow, off and on light snow and blowing snow concerns on Friday. All of it very light. And then breezy and cold 8 on Saturday. Teens return on Sunday after a sub-zero start. Then a high only of 4 for your holiday Monday. The Fox 9 Morning News will return. We're back after the break.
You're watching Fox 9 Morning News at 7 a.m.
And good morning. Welcome back. We've got some great news to share. A big congratulations to our very own Hannah Flood, who has a new bundle of joy. There she is, Emma Jo. Hannah tells us she, Dad, and big sister Millie are all in love, very happy, healthy. She says Millie, as you can see, they're very excited to be a big sister. So congrats to the entire family. And hello, Emma Jo. Welcome to the world. We are going to take a quick break. You are watching the Fox 9 Morning News. Stay with us.
Good morning, 7:59. Thanks for waking up with the Fox 9 Morning News. We've got a backup on 35W. This is at County Road 42, where it looks like a crash just cleared in Burnsville, just north of the 35 split. You can see the backup here, not impacting 35E traffic, but just a couple minutes delayed here from a crash that popped up about 20 minutes ago. And it's really the only delay south of the Minnesota River this morning, 20 minutes from 210th Street in Lakeville to 494. 35E is looking good, along with 169 through Shakopee and 77 through Eagan and Apple Valley. Here's a look at your big map. A couple of delays across the Twin Cities, including 94 and 35W headed into Minneapolis, 694 through Fridley just in the westbound direction. But for the most part, a very light traffic day for 8 a.m. on a Thursday. I'll take another look at drive times in about 15 minutes, and the Fox 9 Morning News at 8 starts right now.
Now on Fox 9 Morning News.
Now at 8 o'clock, President Donald Trump now threatening to use the Insurrection Act to put an end to the ICE protests here in Minneapolis. What this could mean for Minnesotans.
To people in Minneapolis, do not take the bait. We are better than that.
And fear and anger spreading in Minneapolis. Another person is shot by an ICE agent in the city. The Fox 9 Morning News at 8 starts right now.
Live and local all morning. This is Fox 9 Morning News at 8 a.m.
Well, that's a nice shot behind us. Good morning to you. Welcome to the 8 o'clock hour of the Fox 9 Morning News, and also streaming live on Fox Local. I'm Tom Butler.
And I'm Kelly O'Connell. Yeah, thank you for starting the morning with us here. We'll soak that in. Of course, we'll get to the news in just a moment, but we do want to talk about what we can expect as we head out the door today. Meteorologist Keith Marler standing by with that.
Indeed, as we've got ourselves some good old sunshine and a nice little bit of cloud cover beginning to build across the area. Current temperature is 13, feels like 0 as we head on out the door for us this morning. Temperatures are warming, though, as we go through the day today. We'll be in the 20s this afternoon and ultimately actually start to thaw out ever so briefly this evening, but don't get too caught up in that thaw zone, as it comes with some gusty breezes and some mixed precipitation, mainly in the form of some snow. 99% of it will be snow. Little light snow forming across parts of northern Minnesota, and as we go on into the better part of the late morning and afternoon, this little line of snow that we see here will start to reach farther and farther south until ultimately it begins to kind of skim that 94 corridor or so. And ultimately this batch, rare it is, skimming down toward the 94 corridor around lunchtime, and then that second wave rolls on by toward the evening commute. So we'll have a little batch of snow around, and just after lunch, maybe some patchy flurries and patchy freezing drizzle in the afternoon under that cloud cover lull, and then another round of some light snow rolling on in just maybe after the dinner hour and into the overnight. And it's this second wave that's really a second multiple waves. That kind of keeps us in and out of snow showers through the overnight hours tonight. So a few light flakes through today, mainly around midday, and then again into this evening. Snow around midday or so could put down some slippery spots between that and the little freezing drizzle. We'll stay in the 20s this afternoon, around 30 by 7 o'clock, then up to around 32 by around 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. We'll hover there for much of the night with off and on snow showers. Back down to the upper 20s into tomorrow morning's commute with blustery breezes, and then temperatures fall through the day tomorrow afternoon down to the teens, and then we've got a frigid weekend ahead. I'll have all the details coming up over the next 19 minutes.
All right, Keith, yeah, thank you, appreciate it. 8:02 and new at 8, this just happening. President Trump is threatening to send federal troops to Minnesota.
Within just the last hour, the president posted this on Truth Social saying, quote, "If the corrupt politicians in Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act." Trump goes on to say that, quote, "that would quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state." Now, typically this act invoked at the request of a governor. This would, of course, be the opposite.
Last week, after Renee Good was shot and killed by an ICE officer in Minneapolis, Governor Tim Walz saying invoking this act was the president's plan the entire time and urged Minnesotans to protest peacefully.
Don't take the bait. Do not take the bait. Do not allow them to deploy federal troops into here. Do not allow them to invoke the Insurrection Act. Do not allow them to declare martial law. Do not allow them to lie about the security and the decency of this state.
The Insurrection Act of 1807 gives the president power to deploy the U.S. military, both active duty troops and the National Guard, to a domestic location in order to stop civil disorder, insurrection, or a rebellion against a federal or state authority. It was last invoked in 1992 by then-President George H.W. Bush. In that instance, California's governor asked the president for help dealing with the Los Angeles riots following the acquittal of 4 officers charged with the beating death of Rodney King.
This is already a very tense situation, and we do not need this to escalate any further.
Meantime, Minneapolis leaders once again pleading for calm after another person was shot and injured by an ICE agent. That happened last night in the Hawthorne neighborhood of Minneapolis in the north side after federal officials say the agent was, quote, ambushed.
And the shooting prompting even more protests late into the night. And Bill Keller joins us now live in Minneapolis with what we know about this developing story and new information. Bill, good morning.
Good morning. Well, that shooting certainly triggering a tense and chaotic scene in Minneapolis following another violent confrontation involving ICE agents. Last night's shooting happened really in a residential area. This is a neighborhood near Lyndale and 24th on the city's near north side. According to Homeland Security, ICE agents were conducting a traffic stop around 7 p.m. last night. They were targeting a man from Venezuela. They say was living in the U.S. illegally. They say he drove off, eventually crashing a parked car before running off on foot. DHS says that a federal officer tried to arrest the man, but he resisted, attacking that officer. Officials say there were 2 other people that came out of a nearby home also assaulting the officer. They used a shovel and a broom handle, we're told. That's when the agent opened fire, striking the man in the leg. All 3 ran inside. We're told that the suspect was eventually taken to the hospital and is expected to recover. The 2 other alleged attackers were taken into custody. As for the officer who opened fire, he was also taken to the hospital and treated. Again, that's the information we're getting from Homeland Security. City leaders holding a news conference late last night to address the shooting.
American citizens, by the way, many of them, are terrified because American citizens are getting picked up off the street by people in masks. That's not the way things should be conducted in any city in America. That's not who we are. That's not America. So I'm calling for peace. Everybody has a role in achieving that peace.
Well, minutes after the shooting happened, protesters began gathering at the scene. Minneapolis police say demonstrations then turned violent. They say people were throwing fireworks, rocks, ice chunks at both police and federal agents. Officers eventually used tear gas to try and disperse the crowd. And during that chaos, one man tells us that ICE agents targeted his vehicle. While his 6 young kids were inside, he says there was a flashbang that was powerful enough to set off his airbags.
Officers threw flashbangs and tear gas in my car and made I got 6 kids in the car. Lord, my 6-month-old can't even breathe. My 2-year-old flipped out the damn car. This was flipped over. My car filled with tear gas. I'm trying to pull my kid out the car.
Yeah, that man says that his family was trying to leave the area when they were attacked. His wife tells Fox 9 their 6-month-old infant had stopped breathing and went unconscious. They were transported by ambulance to a hospital. They are home this morning recovering. Back to you.
All right, Bill Keller for us there live in Minneapolis. Thank you.
Just coming up on 8:08 and new at 8 this morning, Minnesotans who rely on SNAP benefits will continue getting their benefits after the Trump administration tried to block USDA funding to Minnesota.
A federal judge blocking the president's move yesterday, but this fight is far from over. Chinu Hur joins us now from the Live Center with what we now know and what this means. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, those recipients will continue getting their benefits for now, but we do know about 100,000 Minnesotans rely on SNAP. USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins said earlier this month the administration was withholding federal money from Minnesota's SNAP program as an effort to prevent fraud. Now, the state of Minnesota then filed a lawsuit to prevent that from happening, which a federal judge granted yesterday. So that means they're blocking the Trump administration's efforts, but This fight, Kelly, like you mentioned, it's far from over. The judge says the state of Minnesota still has to file its current plan of operation by today and file a declaration identifying the harm the USDA would cause by withholding this federal money for the first quarter of 2026 here in Minnesota. So all of this still going to be playing out for a little bit here. We'll stay on top of this and let you know what's next in this case and keep you updated here on Fox 9. Guys.
Right. A lot of people interested in this one, too. Chino, thank you. Appreciate it.
Also interested in the forecast, knowing that we have some precipitation in the forecast and when that will happen, how much we're going to be seeing, Keith.
Yeah, 8:09 this morning. We've got ourselves just some increasing cloud cover out the door right now here in the Twin Cities. I got several rounds of some light snow coming on through the area. Attempted light snow, I guess, is a better way to say that. And I've kind of been that way all this week. I've not been excited about this. It's our really only chance for precipitation of any big import because it's a big system. It's got a lot of components to it, but none of them have a lot of moisture. It's not like it's packing its bags full of moisture. It's dragging what little it has with it. And so we have several opportunities for light snow or even a little light mix at times, especially from this first wave that comes through around lunchtime, but there's just not a lot of oomph in the atmosphere. Now, as it has so many waves, it will nickel and dime us into maybe an inch or an inch and a half by tomorrow evening. Some parts of our Wisconsin zones or northeastern Minnesota could end up with 2 or 3 or maybe some isolated 4 inches, which is of note. But based on the large size of the system and the several waves, it's just not packing a very big wallop. Increasing cloud cover, 13 degrees outside right now as temperatures slowly climb on up to the 20s by this afternoon with cloudier conditions. By the time the kids get home from school, we should be on the other side of our first wave of attempted snow. We could pick up a dusting to, if it's aggressive, a ½ inch even here in the metro. That might be a little too aggressive, though, here in the metro. We might end up with just flurries or even patchy drizzle or freezing drizzle. And that would be enough to put down some slippery spots, though, however. And then another wave begins its roll in toward the back of the evening commute and then off and on snow showers overnight tonight and into the day tomorrow. Teens outside right now and climbing here in the Twin Cities. Some of us bottomed out in the single digits, but we are going to continue those temperatures climbing on up with southern flow coming in between 5 and 15 miles per hour. Still some single digits in Cambridge, Hinckley, Hibbing, and Red Wing. But Hayward, you're up and out of the sub-zero land, which you were living in just over the past 90 minutes or so. Cloud cover thickens. There's some snow showers right now across and north of Highway 2 and north central sections of the state. And as we go on through the better part of the day, that tries to reach down toward the Twin Cities again around and just after lunchtime, then a long break. And then here comes our evening snow. So again, getting this little action here, trying to reach right down into the Twin Cities around or just after lunchtime, then a lot of cloud cover for the afternoon. It's in that cloud cover that we would see, again, some flurries, or that would be our chance right in this time period right here that we would see some flurries or freezing drizzle concerns. And then that last wave that comes on through here at the end of this loop would be on the back half of the evening commute. And that would be the first of the overnight waves that continue off and on through the overnight hours that would continue to put down some accumulating snow. So we'll be around 30 by 7 p.m. this evening. Midday light flakes, a burst of that. Maybe mixing in with some freezing drizzle. We'll see what we can get out of that one. Either way, some slippery spots try to get generated, especially around and north of the Twin Cities. Then light snow returns this evening. We'll climb up to around 32 by 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. We'll hover there for a while with off and on periods of some light snow. Then we fall off into the upper 20s by around dawn. And then from there, we'll fall down to the teens for the afternoon with periods of off and on light snow accumulating to an inch or an inch and a half by tomorrow evening. Blowing snow concerns, though, we're going to just move it all over the place as the gusts will be upwards of 30 or 35 miles per hour, but 2 to 3 or maybe even 2 to 4 inches across parts of our western Wisconsin zones or up into northeastern parts of Minnesota. That's what's possible. Getting cold, though. Single-digit highs by Saturday. Still blustery. Have all the details on the 7-day forecast coming up in just 7 minutes. Guys?
All right, Keith, thank you. Still to come here on the Fox 9 Morning News, the U.S. Attorney General announcing she fired several Minnesota prosecutors after they tried to resign.
How details on that and how could affect our Feeding Our Future fraud case and why that trial could get moved out of Minnesota. Details right after the break. It's just turning 8:13.
Fox Local is Fox 9. Download the new app on your phone today.
Good morning, just about 8:16. Thanks for waking up with the Fox 9 Morning News. Typically our busiest time of day in and out of Minneapolis, but take a look at 35W right now, looking quiet. And most of your drive times around the Twin Cities have remained in the green all morning long. 23 minutes from Burnsville to St. Paul on 35E. That's the only backup across the board on 35 this morning. We're crash free right now, pretty much delay free as we head through what's typically the busiest part of our morning commute. Just a small backup on 35E just north of the split, and it looks like we're also slow in Maple Grove from 610 to 94. It's been looking like this pretty much all day and all week. We've got dry roads across the Twin Cities, which are helping too, so no major issues as you're stepping out the door. Tom and Kelly, I'll have another look at drive times coming up in about 15 minutes.
All right, very good. Lauren, thank you. Just about 8:17 on this Thursday morning, and new this morning, Attorney General Pam Bondi says that she fired several prosecutors here in Minnesota.
So she says it's because they would not support ICE operations. In fact, our cameras caught now former federal prosecutor Joe Thompson apparently packing up belongings from his office yesterday. You see him there in the back. The New York Times reported that he resigned this week because the Justice Department wanted him to investigate Renee Good's widow. Now, during an interview on Fox News, Bondi claims that she fired Thompson and 5 other prosecutors.
They said, we want to resign, but we want to use our annual leave up until April, meaning they wanted the taxpayers to pay for them to go on vacation because they decided they didn't want to support law enforcement. So the breaking news tonight, I fired them all. They're fired from the office.
Well, Joe Thompson has led the charge in Minnesota's fraud investigations, including the Feeding Our Future case.
This comes as a federal judge is raising concerns about whether the defendants charged in the Feeding Our Future case can get a fair trial here in Minnesota. 7 defendants are facing a myriad of charges, including wire fraud, bribery, and money laundering. The group is scheduled to go on trial in April, and their attorneys want the case moved out of the state.
The president says garbage, fraudsters, murderers, pedophiles, these defendants are none of those things. We want a fair trial, and we want to transfer to a district where the jury pool is not so tainted by local events, including the militarization of federal agents on the streets every day. That would be a fair and balanced jury in another district, not here at this moment in time.
While the judge did not rule on the motion yesterday, he did express concerns about whether the court can find an impartial jury pool. Defense lawyers have raised the possibility of moving the trial to Chicago, but the U.S. Attorney's Office argues that jury selection can weed out biased jurors.
All right, it is 8:19 right now on this Thursday. We want to head over to meteorologist Keith Marler talking about maybe some snow coming our way.
Right.
I mean, things are looking a little drab, I will admit.
And you're not too excited. You haven't been excited about this system all week, Keith.
Right. Well, yes. In terms of its moisture content and the size of the system, it should do a little something more for us. I'm happy that it's not that exciting, to be honest. I'm never a big proponent of snowstorm at all. Never a big fan of that. But again, when you see something healthy coming out of Canada, and it's going to bring a big old blast of colder air, and the landscape doesn't look exactly that winter-esque. I know a lot of people would like a little bit more of a healthier dose of snow. In parts of our viewing area, we'll pick up 2 to 4+ inches of snow. So when you see a good swath of us only maybe getting a trace to an inch, inch and a half, it just kind of leaves a little bit of a lack of everything else, especially when we don't have a lot going on over the next week. We got another little chance maybe on our, is that Sunday morning, I guess, a little flurry action here and there. Cloud cover thickening on up. Current temperature 13, south wind at 10. Gives us a wind chill around 0 as we go on out the door. Dew points creeping up a little bit there, but that's kind of a sign of not a lot of moisture that we're going to be able to tap into as our temperatures are heading to the low 30s today. There's a lot of mild air back into the Dakotas. 49 in Rapid City right now. 51 out in Billings right now. It's 13 in the Twin Cities, 18 in Winnipeg, and this little line that's out here in the Dakotas is an occluded front. It means that a cold front is caught up to a warm front, and it's turned purple all things said and done, it does split back up into a warm and a cold front south of that, but that occluded front is moving toward us, along with an area of low pressure that's up towards Canada. Behind that, very gusty breezes come on in here. We lift up a little bit of milder air with that occluded front as well, so we're heading into the lower 30s this evening, and for the first part of the overnight hours tonight. A weak trough is up on the Canadian border. This little line here kind of stretches back down toward us and gives us a glancing blow of some very light snow as we go on into the midday hour, and as the low gets closer, it starts to circulate more of that energy and tries to tap into whatever it can grab hold in the atmosphere and throw little weak waves of some very light snow our way before the big cold front gets here through the day tomorrow. So for today, increasing cloud cover continues. We'll try to reach down a little light snow into the noon hour or the 1 or the 2 o'clock hour. We'll see what we can get out of that. Anything from just flurries or a dusting to a half-inch, I think, is just very aggressive for us. We'll see what fluffs out of that, but we're just as likely to get some drizzle or freezing drizzle lingering in this little cloudier zone for the afternoon. Either way, some slippery spots are indeed possible, whether you see them as flakes or just a little bit of a glaze out there. Then later this evening and overnight tonight, we'll start to get some waves of some very light snow as temperatures climb to the low 30s and hover there for a while, then back down to the upper 20s for tomorrow morning, and then down into the teens for tomorrow afternoon with periods of off and on light snow. We'll end up with about an inch or an inch and a half of snow by tomorrow evening in the metro, but we will see some 2 to 3s or 2 to 4s in our northeastern sections of the viewing area. So for today, a slow climb to the 20s this afternoon, then the low 30s this evening and overnight tonight. Periods of light snow, one chance around lunchtime, a better chance this evening and overnight tonight. Then off and on light snow and blowing snow concerns with very gusty breezes late tonight and through the day tomorrow. That will cause temperatures to fall to the teens by the end of the day tomorrow. We might end up with some temporary advisories tomorrow, especially in open areas due to blowing snow concerns. We'll get cold, a high only around 8 on Saturday, then sub-zero mornings and chilly afternoons, 16 for a bump up on Sunday, then back down to 4, only 4 for a high by Monday afternoon. The Fox 9 Morning News will continue. We're back right after the break.
Welcome back to Fox 9 Morning News at 8 a.m.
Coming up at 9 on Good Day, more countries are pulling out a call for automakers to return to more low-tech options. So what's behind this push and why you might see some popular touchscreens actually going away? And the holidays might have taken a big bite out of your finances. Now it's time to hit the reset button. A financial expert joins us with some advice on how to set realistic goals for your money and actually ways to save more here in 2026. And excitement is building. The U of M dance team preparing to embark on the quest for another national title down in Florida this weekend. Shane got a little glimpse at what we could expect to see, and it's not just the U of M. A lot of Minnesota universities and colleges will be represented. McDonald's is hoping a new high-tech feature will ensure that you get everything you order before you leave. So you don't say, wait, what? They missed something. We're taking a closer look at this new feature. Will it work? It's all coming up at 9 on Good Day. We're going to take a quick break here as we head out for our next half hour here on the Fox 9 Morning News. Look at that. More snow is on the way, and it's a welcome sight in Stillwater. A snow sculpting competition is currently underway. Jared Piepenberg is there for us this morning, checking out the competition, the icy competition. We'll be right back.
Sleep. Welcome back to the Fox 9 Morning News. Now here's your weather on the 9s.
8:29, meteorologist Keith Marler, live look at Maple Grove, where we got ourselves our little ice rink up there, our little loop, our skating loop, we'll call it there at Central Park, scooting around as we go on out the door. Cloud covered building. We're going to see some light snow decorate parts of the area today as things are going to get a little slippery as we go on in. If not midday, depending on how you end up with our little opportunity for some midday flakes. Not everyone's going to see those. It'll be patchy. The much better chance toward the evening and overnight tonight for us to get that swath of some off and on light snow showers. Teens right now and climbing. We're heading to the 20s this afternoon, then ultimately the low 30s toward the late evening and overnight tonight before things crash down tomorrow through the day tomorrow. But cloud cover continues to build. Some light flakes right now across northern Minnesota. This will reach down and skim the metro area around and just after lunchtime into the early afternoon. Then we'll take a long break mid to late afternoon into the early evening where we could see just flurries or even some patchy drizzle or freezing drizzle. And then another wave rolls on in toward the end of the evening commute. And that would be the first of several waves that come on in here overnight. So again, a little midday brush with a little light snow. We could pick up a dusting or, I mean, if we get aggressive, some folks could get a half inch, but I think that's, well, that would be impressive. Enough to cause slippery spots, perhaps, if you see that midday. And then off and on overnight tonight, we could pick up a half inch to an inch into the day tomorrow. So grand totals in the metro by tomorrow evening, an inch to an inch and a half, but we could see 2 to 3 or 2 to 4 inches across our northeastern viewing areas by the time we wrap this up tomorrow evening. For today, though, cloud cover builds and then midday flakes or a mix possible, a break or a lull as we get gustier. Mid-20s become the upper 20s by the evening with another round of flakes moving on in. And then we'll be starting to thaw out by around 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. We'll hover there for a good chunk of the night before falling into the upper 20s for tomorrow morning's commute. And then down to the teens again for tomorrow afternoon with blustery and raw blowing snow conditions off and on through the day on Friday. More details over the next 19 minutes, but let's get a check of our traffic for this Thursday morning commute. Lauren?
Good morning. Here at 8:31, crash-free and delay-free. Just one new construction project slowing us down on 35E. This is at McAndrews Road in Burnsville, just east of the Burnsville split. I'm seeing cones just laid down in both directions. So we're down to one lane headed north and south on 35E. No word on the MnDOT map what project this is about or what they're doing. But if you're headed through 35E in Burnsville today, you might notice a little bit of a slowdown. Not really impacting our drive time too much. 22 minutes from Burnsville to St. Paul on 35E. Forest Lake to St. Paul looking good, 17 minutes this morning. There's that little backup in Burnsville you can see at the bottom of your screen. Otherwise, our map has almost completely changed back to green. Tom and Kelly have a final look at drive times coming up in about 20 minutes.
Lauren, thank you. It is 8:32 right now. Taking a look at some stories making headlines at this hour. The city of Woodbury says it will not be home to a new ICE detention center. City leaders say the owners of this empty warehouse on Hudson Road confirming that the building is not being sold or leased to the federal government, and it will not be used as an ICE detention center. It comes after residents spoke out against the proposal.
The stock market open for the morning. We see it is up about 111 points right now. We'll continue to monitor that for you after a couple of down days. 8:32, almost 8:33. Winter works of art are starting to take shape in the beautiful city of Stillwater.
Snow sculpting teams from around the world are here showing off their talents. It's all part of the World Snow Celebration. Teams have been hard at work over the last 24 hours or so. Meteorologist Jared Piepenberg is there live with a look at the progress so far. Pretty incredible stuff, Jared. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, it's really neat because some have been working overnight and others are kind of drawing on their big blocks of snow here. So it's just started yesterday, continue to carve today, tomorrow, into parts of Saturday before the end of the competition. And I'm actually with Team Ecuador, which it's hot back home. We were just talking about that, and I said, how do you practice about going ahead and making this? And they said, this is the practice. So good morning. And this is what you're going to be making, is that correct?
Yes, it's okay. This is the small sculpture, and we made this in the big block.
Yeah, and you can see on the side here, you kind of been drawing that out. It looks like stenciling it in too. And you guys put on your masks right before here. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yes, this is the Diablo Uma mask. This represents we culture in the country. This is for protection. This represents the good and the evil. And this is the folklore mask of our country.
Yeah, it's very fun. Now you guys are a family. You got dad, uncle, and you here, and you've been traveling around the world doing this. This isn't your first competition, correct?
This is correct. Yeah, it's many competitions. The sculpture in snow and ice is very important for the team. The Ecuador represent.
And then you said this is your second time doing one of these competitions.
Yes, it's okay. We have a lot of experience around the world. We made sculptures in snow and ice that saved my uncle. And stay here is a great experience because the Stillwater people is so grateful with us. And is experience grateful because we can share that we made with love for you, for the community people or Stillwater.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see this unfold here over the next couple of days, and we'll be talking with another one of the teams here this morning coming up. And yeah, if you're interested, we'll have some more information on our website of parking and a free event. So it'll be taking place here over the next couple of days. It's pretty fun. It's really chilly out though. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of cold this weekend too.
Hence the need for the stocking cap with the full coverage there.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Jared.
Good stuff.
Exactly.
Still ahead, a huge event in St. Paul will have you ready for an outdoor adventure.
Let's check in with Shane Wells. She's at the River Center for us this morning.
Oh, hey there. Good morning. We are checking out the St. Paul RV Super Show. They have nearly 200 RVs packed in here, from the starter RV to the luxury life on wheels. We'll show you all of it. That's coming up after the break.
Now on Fox 9 Morning News at 8 a.m.
Good morning. Welcome back here. You're watching the Fox 9 Morning News. It is 8:38 as we take a look outside for you this morning. A couple of light flakes. Nothing too severe. Keith Marler saying he'll detail exactly what we could expect over the next 24 hours or so. But just prepare. It'd be later this afternoon and into the evening hours. The largest RV and camping convention in the area kicks off later today inside the St. Paul River Center. Our Shane Wells is there for us this morning with a first look.
Good morning. The River Center has done it again, transformed into an RV super show. This starts up later today, and there are hundreds to check out. We're going to show you a few. Siraj, you're on one of them now, and we have Andy Gillen with us. He's with Mark Court RV and Ramsey, and we are checking out one that would be a good starter option for families. It's good to see kind of what you can get versus the price too. So this one starts, you said, maybe around 15.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What do you get?
So what you're seeing here is you basically got, like a family type coach is what you're going to have. Something that's going to have spot for mom and dad, a couple spots for the kids to have. If you want to bring guests along, you got a dinette you can convert into a bed on something like this. Nice thing about it is you still have it where everybody can be inside if it's raining, but yet most of the time you're going to be outside camping.
Which a lot of times is the idea of camping, but we know that some people like to take it up a notch. Or you were chatting about living that kind of lifestyle where you go south for several months.
Correct.
And this is something that would offer that.
Absolutely. So something like this is going to be a unit that you're going to, what they call glamping. It's going to give you everything and then some.
Okay, so you walk on here. I mean, what is the square footage on this thing?
Square footage is approximately 400 square feet on this.
Officially bigger than my first studio apartment in Minneapolis. I can confirm mine was 350 square feet. It's beautiful in here. I mean, glamping is, I almost would give it another name too. This feels just like a fancy home for.
Well, you're running all residential appliances on here. The big fridge, the 4-burner stove top, the big oven, big microwave. So you have everything. Not to mention you have a huge TV inside here for both the front living, and don't forget whoever's in the kitchen cooking, they can still watch TV also.
That's true. It feels like we're almost separated. I know, Suraj, you're going to make your way into the primary suite here. That bathroom in there is pretty sizable.
Well, you got to get ready in the morning.
Get ready for all your camping adventures.
Exactly.
So there's a lot in between what we just showed you, to be in a million options in between. Andy, we appreciate the tour. Always a fun show. Fun to dream a little or just even plan out your summer and what do you want to do with it. If you guys want to come check it out, opens up again today. Runs through Sunday right here at the St. Paul River Center. Back to you.
Shane, thank you. Still much more to come here on the Fox 9 Morning News, including a way to give back to our four-legged community. The Humane Society is here with a look at some great volunteer opportunities and some cuddles right after the break.
Fox Local is Fox 9. Download the new app on your phone today. Welcome back to Fox 9 Morning News at 8 a.m.
Waking up together on this Thursday morning. You can see that's a nice shot there inside the conservatory over there in St. Paul. Marjorie McNeely. 8:44 is the time. 13 degrees outside. Just so nice indoors, especially that sunny. So pretty. Well, a new year brings new beginnings. We hear you. We hear you. And a chance for you to chip in to help animals in need, like the one to my right here. It takes a big network of volunteers to help run the Animal Humane Society. And if you've ever thought about helping out, now would be the perfect chance to do so. Jen Rickert joins us now this morning with an adoptable puppy by the name of Dilly. Are you Dilly? Are you Dilly? You are Dilly. We've heard from you from AHS to share how people can get involved. What a cute pup.
Yeah, Dilly is only a month old.
Yeah.
Have a couple brothers and sisters just came to us and should be ready to adopt here probably real soon.
Do we know what kind of mix we have here?
German Shepherd.
Yeah, very pretty. I mean, just beautiful markings. And so obviously adoptable, ready to go. What's it like for people who volunteer at the Humane Society? Now's a good time to do that. It sounds like you're really in need.
Yes, this is a time of year that we really need volunteers. With it being a little bit colder, and then a lot of our folks are snowbirds. So we can use some extra volunteers to come and help out. Various tasks. We have something for everybody. Helping wash dishes, greeting our customers, walking pups. There's so many ways to get involved and different activities. So all sorts of ways.
And it's one of those things, you can be flexible, right, with those folks and their time. They can kind of pretty much pick the times they want to come in and help. If it's, say, maybe they can only do 2 hours on a Tuesday and maybe an hour and a half on a Friday.
That's right. So their flexibility is awesome. We have 7 days a week that you're able to volunteer from morning until later in the evening. So all kinds of flexibility. We just ask 2 shifts a month, and from there it's really flexible. And so that way, if you're looking to get involved with your community, meet new folks, and get some puppy therapy, that's a great way to do so.
To have the energy of Dilly, that would be something on a Thursday morning at 8:47. Dilly, you're just so sweet. You're just really sweet. You're doing fine. You're just doing fine. So for volunteers who come in, give me an idea, like person who's been there for a while, what do they like to do? And will they change it up after, say, a few months? Will they try something different?
Yeah, so there's lots of opportunities to grow, and that's something that we're really focusing on as a team this year. Lots of social events that we're planning, different learning opportunities to learn about different departments in our organization, but there's also opportunities to take on different roles, whether that's walking dogs or helping out on the adoption floor to help get pups like Dilly here adopted.
Well, I think it's helping just having Dilly's 15 minutes of fame today. I think somebody's going to want to adopt that beautiful, beautiful pup. So let's also talk about people who are watching right now. They say, one of my resolutions is to be more philanthropic and help out. So how can people sign up to be a volunteer?
Yeah, so if you head to animalhumanesociety.org, there's a volunteer tab, and there's all of our volunteer opportunities. You'll fill out an application, watch a video on volunteering, and then you'll go through an interview process where you get to meet with us, our team, and we'll just get to chat with you about the different opportunities, and then we'll set you up in training.
Yeah. And then you can get some puppy therapy while you're there with Dilly. Good stuff. Jen, thanks for being here.
Thanks,
Dilly.
us.
You did great, Dilly. You did terrific. You did. You did great. If you'd like to find out more, you can go to their website for more information on those volunteer opportunities. Just head to animalhumanesociety.org. That's animalhumanesociety.org. We'll get Dilly a home. That's right, Dilly. That's the Dilly over here. What's the Dilly over there, Keith?
Well, I visited Dilly for a little while.
It's so cute.
Yeah, I took a video, sent it to Susan, and Susan just simply asked, "Is that our new puppy?" And I was like, "Oh, what have I done? Oh, what have I done?" We've got ourselves some cloud cover that's out the door for us this morning. The cloud cover continues to build as we go on through the day today. We are warming up slowly. Temperatures are in the low teens now. We bottomed out in the upper single digits and lower teens, lower than this morning. We were around, I think, officially 11 at the airport, but we did see some 8s and 9s in our ring of burbs. We're heading to the 20s this afternoon and then the lower 30s once the sun goes down this evening and into the overnight hours. We'll kind of hover around a thaw for a good chunk of the overnight as we have several rounds of some very light snow roll on by. One of those rounds comes by around lunchtime today, if it can reach all the way down out of the north. So light snows across northern Minnesota through the later morning, afternoon hours. We've got some of that around International Falls at the moment. By around noon or 1 o'clock or so, we'll try to get going right through the metro area or so, but it's just barely reaching on down toward the Twin Cities and then flourishing as it continues its trek down into southeastern Minnesota. We'll have a nice little break there into the afternoon with some cloud cover. But hiding in that cloud cover still could be some flurries or some little bit of icy drizzle hiding in there. Again, that's hard to see on the radar picture overall. So some scattered slippery spots evolving. From this one round, we could pick up a dusting or a skiff, maybe even a quarter or a half inch if it gets really aggressive, but there's just not a lot of moisture there initially. And then temperatures will continue to climb. We'll start to get gusty. And then toward the back of the evening commute or into the evening hours, we'll start to see a few more rounds roll on by. And that will continue off and on through the night tonight and into tomorrow morning. Temperatures hover initially in the 30s, fall to the 20s tomorrow morning, and then continue to fall through the afternoon tomorrow, down and into the teens by tomorrow afternoon. With blowing snow concerns, winds gusting to 30 or 35 miles per hour. We might end up with temporary winter weather advisories popping in different locations. For tomorrow, it might look a little inconsistent just because of some blowing snow concerns. I'm not sure if that's really going to pop just between the wind and some light snow, because accumulations are going to be very, very light as we go through the grand scheme of things over this as we go on into tomorrow afternoon and evening. And then as it blows on out of the way, we'll see some mostly cloudy sky linger into Saturday. Still breezy and blustery, but ooh, frigid as we go on into our Saturday with single-digit highs and wind chills that remain below zero all day on Saturday. When it comes to accumulations, again, based on the size of the system, you'd expect something a little bit more impressive. I'm happy it's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. There will be some totals that are closer to 3, maybe some isolated 4s in splotchy locations to our north and east, but a lot of 2s and 3 pluses just to the north and east. But this generic 1s, maybe some 1.5s, are trying to get some 2s here and there across most of our viewing area, as it all is going to be very, very splotchy and not very banded where you go 1 to 2 to 3. It'll be 1, 1.5, half, 1.5, 1. Just poke, you know what I mean. A few light flakes fly today, one time around lunchtime into early afternoon, maybe mixing in with some freezing drizzle. Then a break and then some evening light snow, and it gets going off and on through the night. We'll be around 30 by 7, 32 by around 8 or 9 o'clock and hover there for a while, then back down to the upper 20s tomorrow morning, then keep going down to the teens tomorrow afternoon. Off and on light flakes fly around, blow around, they do their thing. Then they're out of here by tomorrow night. Then mostly cloudy and breezy, blustery. 8 feels like 5 or 10 below for much of the day on Saturday. Sunday, chilly, back to the teens with some morning flurries, and then cold for your holiday Monday with a high around 4. Then some rebound, but still well below average. Highs only in the teens, heading into the middle days of next week. All right, let's get one last look at our traffic. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning. 8:52 here. We are crash-free, delay-free, and we've been that way for the majority of our Thursday morning commute. Good morning to Fridley. Here's a look at 694 and Main Street. No backups here now and no backups all morning. We've had light traffic across the Twin Cities and dry roads in the metro and across the entire state of Minnesota. Those are two factors that have really played into light, drama-free morning commutes. 16 minutes westbound on 694 from Roseville to Brooklyn Center. 17 minutes in the eastbound direction. 610 is looking good, headed east to 35W in Mounds View, and no problems driving through Roseville this morning. 16 minutes from 694 to downtown Minneapolis. Here's a look at your big map. The only delay is on 35E just north of the Burnsville split, where we do have some lane closures going on maybe for the next couple of hours. So keep that in mind if you're stepping out the door. Otherwise, enjoy these dry roads while we have them, Tom. No problems now if you're stepping out and headed wherever you're going.
Exactly right. All right, Lauren, thank you. Time is 8:53. Hundreds of St. Paul high schoolers rally against ICE at the state capitol after walking out of class yesterday. Students from across the district staged a walkout over the lunch hour, with some walking about an hour to the state capitol for the rally. Students say friends and family members who are legal residents of the U.S. live in fear.
My family's we're immigrants, so it hurts. It gets me to a point. And I wish that because my stepdad is so scared to step outside, and it hurts me that he's afraid of, getting caught or just, being outside.
And I am your Attorney General.
Meantime, St. Paul Public Schools announcing it will offer optional virtual learning for students who don't feel comfortable going to school.
This option is different from SPPS Online School.
To the greatest extent possible, students who sign up will learn remotely with teachers and students from their current school for a temporary period of time.
Registration for the virtual learning opens today, and the first virtual learning day will be next Thursday, the 22nd. In order to prepare, the district is canceling school on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Monday, they already have off for Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Undocking confirmed. Endeavour begins its journey home with the Crew 11 crew.
For the first time ever, an astronaut is sent home early from the space mission for a medical evacuation. NASA has not identified which astronaut is having a medical issue or what the problem might be, citing privacy concerns. But the entire four-person crew left the ISS yesterday on the SpaceX capsule. They splashed down off the coast of San Diego about 2 hours ago, cutting their mission short by about a month. Again, details of the health issues not being released, but NASA says the astronauts are safe, stable, and well cared for. The space station now has only 3 astronauts on board. That's John Mellencamp, once John Cougar, then John Cougar Mellencamp. No, just John Mellencamp, and he is bringing his new tour to Minnesota. He's making a stop at the new Mystic Lake Amphitheater in Shakopee, July 14th. Tickets will go on sale next Friday, the 23rd. And the first country music performance at the amphitheater is now adding a second show. Chris Stapleton with special guest Alan Stone will be performing July 30th in addition to an initial concert July 29th. Tickets for those shows go on sale this Friday. Well, thanks so much for joining us on this Thursday. Hope you have a good rest of your day. I'll be back with Mr. Marler at 11 a.m. Keep you updated on the weather and what else is going on. But till then, we have a little break here. Our friends from Fox 9 Good Day have a great show that is coming up next.
Well, good morning.
Let's do it together, huh?
Happy Thursday. Welcome to Good Day.
Yeah. We're starting with a story that has a lot of people excited, and it feels like it came up fast this year, but for the dance world, this weekend is essentially our Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
It is, yeah. The Universal Dance Association, the most prestigious college national championship in the country, takes place in Orlando. Oh, the picture went away too fast. I didn't even get to talk about it. There's several Minnesota teams competing in this, including one of the best in the country. We know University of Minnesota Gophers. These are photos from the team's photographer, Kobe Rouse, who we've had on the show before. So first we want to talk about costumes. We're going to show you, this is their pom costumes this year. If you remember last year, they were black, almost kind of looked futuristic.
Oh, yeah.
So a big departure from that. Maroon, white, sparkly, and they've got the white poms in this. Routine's very cool. Lots of wow factor. This is Jazz. So I thought these were navy in person, but then they look black in the picture. So I don't know, they're dark, dramatic, but the headpiece, real sparkly, a really cool piece to add in there. I did see both routines last weekend at the Edina Open. Jazz in particular, I don't want to give it away, it's very tongue-in-cheek.
Okay.
From what's happened the last few years, though, so that was kind of a fun little thing. It's a very different style from what they did last year. Some big wow moments, and I just keep saying, I want to see it again, because when you're watching it the first time, you kind of miss some parts, and then you get to see it over and over the weekend. Good news, talent pool runs really deep here. There's going to be a lot of Minnesota teams to cheer on, including the University of Minnesota Duluth, Minnesota State Mankato, University of St. Thomas, St. Cloud, College of St. Benedict, they're all there. If you want to watch the competition, you do need a subscription to Flow Sports. Plans start around $40 a month. There will be viewing events at Bar of Their Own this weekend, which I love, plus social media filled with videos and photos of the performances if you are looking to watch. Also, a smart bet would be to follow Kobe Rouse. He's the team photographer, so he's embedded with them over the weekend. A lot of good content behind the scenes, stuff from the performances. He will be with not only the U of M, but he's also with Mankato and Duluth, so you can see all their content. His Instagram and TikTok is Rouse_photos, and then Alyssa Christine is with St. Thomas. She's in Orlando too. A really good follow for college and high school dance as well. They'll get you caught up on all the teams. Kind of funny, Flow, by the way, that's also the wrestling channel.
I know you said that you actually have this channel.
So that's where we watched my son's tournament stream live, and I was like, oh, we have Flow.
I might just come to your house. And then you can also explain what's happening.
In wrestling or dance?
Well, both, I guess. But I mean, this weekend in dance.
Yes, absolutely. So they will do the routines Friday, then they do them again Saturday, and then like Sundays is the final. So there's several like layers of competition, and you'll see the routines start coming out tomorrow night. So
good stuff. Good luck to all of our local teams for sure. All right, a follow-up now on a massive social media ban. It was in Australia, currently is, for kids under 16 years old. Nearly 5 million social media accounts have been deactivated, removed, or restricted. This according to Australia's Prime Minister. Now, the ban went into effect December 10th. The idea here, banning kids under 16 from platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and more. The tech companies are required to implement age verification and some other methods to keep kids off the app, or face fines up to $32 million. Companies are complying with this, but urging the government there to reconsider. Facebook's parent company, Meta, suggesting that the age verification extends to the stores, the app stores as well. Reddit has launched a legal challenge against Australia, saying the ban is ineffective and interferes with freedom of speech. But interesting to see how this is kind of transpiring, and a lot of people are kind of taking this almost as a test and a case study to see how this looks, how this rolls out, and then obviously how this impacts, you know, the future generations. So it's going to be a while to see the effects of this, but 5 million accounts already out in what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a couple weeks, about a month.
Well, we see this in other countries. Who will do it? Who will follow suit? I think obviously we're both on board with this.
I mean, it's sad that you have to force it, but it is at some point you do almost have. We're getting to the point where you almost have to force it.
I think if you look at a certain age group too, like I would say, I'm so thankful social media wasn't around when I was in high school.
1,000%.
It wasn't even something available to me, and now our kids, unfortunately, it's like there.
Right.
Like, and then of course you want.
Yeah,
you want to be on it. You want to see it. Your friends have it. You're watching it on your friend's phone. If you're not on your phone.
Yeah,
it's hard to get away from, For sure. All right, a recent study finding that vehicles with touchscreens could be more dangerous than texting while driving. So there's now a push to go back to buttons, literally a push button in some parts of the world. Car manufacturers in Australia and New Zealand being asked to bring back buttons for important driver controls like headlights and windshield wipers. Research shows a sliding bar on a screen will take your attention off the road, where a physical button often allows the same adjustment to be made with minimal or no visual input. Man, I feel this I was in a rental car for a little bit, long story. But anyway, the screen, number one, it was a car I didn't know, but just turning on the most simple features, it was like, couldn't find them. There was one button that was right next to another, so I kept accidentally turning other things on, whereas if you could feel, like I know where my seat heater on my car, which is a push button is, like I can do that without going like this, but on that car, you almost had to wait for a light.
Sure. Well, and not only that, I mean, obviously the distraction aspect, which is huge, but if, now if those screens go out for whatever reason, maybe has nothing to do with the seat heater, like so many functions are now just, you can't have access to it. So it's like, okay, this screen cracked or went out or whatever, and now I can't figure out where my hazards are. I can't actually roll down my window. All these things that not only a distraction, but then you literally can't use the car, many of the functions of the car.
And that's a really expensive thing to fix too, as they always warn you. We were at the auto show a few weeks ago in Minneapolis, and I said, is anybody starting to bring back a car? And maybe even it is for a certain age group where you're like, I don't want all the flashy screens. Maybe the youngins do. They said there's one brand that's in the Twin Cities. It's called like Ineos, I think. Okay. And it's like an off-road vehicle, so it's really expensive. It is meant for mountaining.
Where you don't want all the tech because it's jumbled and it's...
Exactly, so everything on there. They said it's even a key to turn on your car, which feels like, whoa. What a key and an ignition. But of course it's super expensive, this car, but you hope that yes, some of these dealers come back a little, like we don't want all the screens. In fact, that saves money, right? One would think.
I don't know, there has to be a happy medium, right? Where we got to figure out something.
We've gone really far the other way. Very Jetsons.
Yes, online shopping could be bad news not only for your wallet, but also your stress levels. This new study found that people who spend more time shopping online are more stressed than those who read the news or check their emails. I'm not sure about that, but the team compared data from nearly 47 million website visits. Users of YouTube and streaming services, as well as online gamers, also reported increased stress levels. The study did not clarify, though, which came first, the stress or the social media and internet use. I'm not arguing that it is stress-inducing. For sure. Online shopping can be very stress-inducing. But yes, are you stressed? And then you're going online shopping to maybe relieve some of that stress, so then the stress just stays with it? I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like online shopping is usually kind of fun. Sometimes they put stuff in carts. I don't buy it. But you're looking, you're like, oh, I've needed one of those things. And I don't know, it's a little bit of a distraction.
Yeah, it is sometimes. Sometimes you need that. All right, how about this? A tennis player learning not to celebrate too early. You didn't win, dude. Okay, so this guy's from Austria. He ended up losing his match, but here he thinks he wins it, right? He's like, yeah. He and his opponent were in a 10-point tiebreaker, but he thought it was only to 7 points. So when he went up 7-1, he started celebrating, only for the umpire to send it back, and then he goes on to lose it, and this is the real celebration. Oh, this is so uncomfortable, so embarrassing. I mean, again, the tiebreaker tennis rules are a little confusing, whatever, but have you ever done that? Maybe not celebrating that or like even you think someone's waving at you and you wave back. I mean, I know this is very different, but like that idea where you're like, oh, and then you realize they're not waving at you, and it's so uncomfortable, and you like, do I make a thing of it? Do I move on?
This dude's out there on his own. I'm thinking of, I'm going to football. You know, when your team's up pretty big and you're like, okay, I think, and then those crazy things happen, onside kick, etc., and all of a sudden you end up losing, and you're like, well, that hurts even more than when you. So yes, we've learned in other ways, but yeah, to be by yourself celebrating a win that you did that,
ouch,
that will live on the internet forever. At least he didn't go too. He wasn't doing too much flexing.
That's true.
Dabbing.
It could have been
I don't
worse.
know. Grittying is the word I meant. You can get giddy. about the gritty.
There you go.
All right, we have some exciting news
Yay!
to share this morning. We're very excited to share this. Guess what? Hannah's new bundle of joy is here. Here she is. That's Emma Jo. Hannah says she, Dad, big sister Millie, all in love, very happy, very healthy. Plus, she says Millie is real excited to be a big sister.
Oh,
we have been waiting for this news, and I know you at home as well.
Yes.
Seeing she wasn't here and knowing something's going on.
Oh, sweet little Emma. Welcome to the world. Oh, I love that.
That darn family.
And I will say, Hannah shared the video of Millie meeting Emma with us, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing.
It's the kind of video you won't ever forget seeing, and you just need to. Warms your heart.
Congratulations. Enjoy all of it. All right, still to come here on Good Day. Add more green to your indoor space with low-maintenance houseplants. Garden guy Dale Kay showing off a couple of his favorites.
And a financial expert joins us, sharing advice on how to get a fresh start, maybe some things to reevaluate in the new year.
And here in the heart of Minnesota winter, the city of Stillwater. Look at this, making the most of this time of year, taking a live look at the progress so far as snow sculptors from around the world are in town competing for a big title this weekend. They're chipping away. We're going to chat with one of the teams a little bit later.
To savings.
You're watching Fox 9 Good Day.
Well, welcome back. We know a lot of Americans are making it their New Year's resolution to focus on some short-term savings goals.
Yeah, a new study from Fidelity Investment shows 44% of Americans say they want to save more money in the new year, 36% want to pay down more debt, and 30% say they hope to spend less. Of all the age groups surveyed, millennials and Gen Zs were the most overwhelmed by their personal finance.
So if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're thinking about how to reset your finances, you aren't alone. Samantha Falkowski joins us from Affinity Plus Credit Union with advice on how to get your budget back on track. Good morning, and thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, first up, just what are you hearing? What are the feelings, the overall finances for the average American as we head into 2026? Where are they at?
Absolutely. So what we're hearing from our members is that there is some anxiety as we walk into the new year. So seeing increase in household expenses, we're not seeing income increase. So we are hearing, and I know for me personally, feeling that financial strain that's happening.
Exactly. It's one thing to say, oh, I want to save more money this year, but like, where is that money coming from? So, I mean, big realistic picture here. How can we even start that process? How do we start the budget to see where we maybe have some wiggle room?
Sure. So taking a look at that overall financial picture is a really great place to start, right? Like, there are things that we can't control, so let's refocus on what we can control. So in any plan, right, we have to make small steps, right? So you don't run a marathon by just jumping out the front door and running a marathon, right? So we take baby steps to get to that overall bigger goal. So that's where we would start, is taking a look, making a plan, and taking small realistic steps to meet that goal.
I know a lot of people too, they want to pay off debt, but then also want to be saving money, and sometimes those two things don't really work well together. How do you make progress even though it feels like we're spending a bit more right now, like cutting down that debt?
Absolutely. So one thing that you would do is we're going to take a look at the big picture, right? So, you know, like you just shared, expenses are increasing, but our income isn't. So let's write it down. What does your debt look like? What is the interest rate? What are your minimum payment obligations? What are the non-negotiables that you have to pay every month? And where is that wiggle room? So really trying to find that opportunity area of, can I give up maybe going out to eat once a week so that I can make a $15 extra payment to the debt that I have? So really just kind of ebbing and flowing. Where is their discretionary income?
And Samantha, I know you mentioned just like that $15 mark, and some folks, it's like, well, that's not going to add up. But if you can do that, whether it go to debt or savings, I mean, it does add up. Yes, you're not putting thousands and thousands of dollars away, but every little bit counts.
Absolutely. And remembering that, a plan for me is going to look different than a plan for you. So taking a look at, really where is that opportunity, and tailoring it to the individual. We want to make sure that any kind of plan that we create is approachable and is geared towards your specific financial situation. So what I would recommend for you might be different than what I would recommend for myself, what I would recommend for another member. It's really all about creating a plan that you can stick to that works for you as an individual.
All right, Samantha, thank you from Affinity Plus Credit Union. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, coming up here on Good Day, a clever fix for a fast food problem you've probably likely experienced. A ketchup brand showing off a new design that lets you keep your ketchup and fries all in one spot.
Amazing. Why are we just now getting this? Plus, a runaway emu in Florida. I'll tell you how this feathered fugitive was finally captured.
And an 11-year-old, look at him go, making history in Houston, setting a record for a half marathon time that puts most of us adults in shame. It definitely did for my time back in the day. Those stories and more in your good list. We'll be right back. Welcome back. 9:22. Time for your good list here. Sheriff's deputies had their hands full with the emu causing some trouble and an embarrassing moment at the airport. Items from a suitcase are on display for the world to see. Unmentionables, you could say. Those stories in your Thursday good list.
Heinz is debuting a new French fry box with a special compartment to hold, ketchup. No more juggling those packets or squeezing sauce onto the fries. The new box debuted yesterday at select locations, including some sports stadiums in 11 different countries. Don't expect to see it, though, everywhere. This is a limited time, essentially PR stunt, available only while supplies last. A runner is making history after crossing the finish line at a half marathon in Houston. So here's why this is historic. He's only 11 years old. He broke a world record for his age group at 1 hour and 23 minutes. His first race was a 5K with his mom when he was just 7 years old. He now trains several nights a week during the school year and runs long distances on the weekends with friends and coaches.
In pursuit of an emu.
Deputies in Florida capture a runaway emu, and it's all caught on camera. Take a look.
I'll be honest with you, I've never handcuffed an emu before. Are you done resisting? I don't want to have to charge you.
Yeah, so the animal kicked the deputy several times, but the deputy was finally able to catch it. He cornered the emu, secured it with some makeshift lasso, and handcuffed his legs. The deputy says in his 25-year career, he's never experienced this. The bird was eventually reunited with its family. When an airline loses your suitcase, it is frustrating, but this might be even worse. Not only did the airline lose some of this man's luggage, but baggage claim put his underwear on display for the whole airport to see. The man's sister recorded the whole thing as he waited for his suitcase at Pittsburgh International Airport, only to watch his socks, his underwear come out one at a time on the carousel. His bags eventually showed up with most of the other stuff inside, but the rest of the underwear was missing. They say they went to customer service to find them, but it's still missing.
Oh. I can't imagine my underwear rolling off that. I would probably not even claim it. I'd be like, oh my God, whose is that?
Seriously.
Ew.
I mean, it looked like the airport was pretty dead at that point, but yeah, I would be like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. Let's go.
I didn't pack extra. All right, McDonald's adding some new tech to make sure orders are accurate. So the fast food chain is going to be using AI-driven accuracy scales designed to prevent incorrect orders. So each bag of food will be weighed before it's handed over. If the weight does not match up with the expected total for the items ordered, then obviously they will double check and make sure nothing is missing. This at a place that, you know, is pretty fast. This feels like another step that they're gonna.
It's a quick
slow. I mean, I don't know. AI is crazy, but I'm just thinking the wrong thing on the wrong scale at the wrong time. And how many scales do you have?
I mean, I hope that isn't. I mean, this actually, I feel like if this goes beyond McDonald's, this could be nice because there is, I mean, you know, third world problems, first world problems, but like, you know, it is frustrating to go home and then you're like, oh, we are missing an entire order.
Yep.
Sorry,
well,
Johnny.
sometimes you want to pull over.
You know, right.
Some places are like Culver's is like built to like pull over for a second. Did they put everything in there? But others, you feel the pressure to like go.
Yes, you're like, sure, I'm sure they got it. And then you're like, sorry, you don't get that cheeseburger. We'll just have a peanut butter sandwich when we get home.
All right, next on Good Day, no green thumb, no problem.
Garden Guy Dale Kay has a couple ideas to add more greenery to your life. Hello, Dale. Good morning.
Good morning. Let me introduce you to Ficus lyrata. Sometimes you only have to look at this plant the wrong way and it curls up and dies on you. Coming up after the break, plants that will not die when you look at them. We'll have all the details when Good Day rolls on right after this. Stay with us. Don't look at me like that.
about topic right now on social media, plant forums, lifestyle media. Everybody's looking for low maintenance plants for beginners.
Yeah, we all want a lot of green in our house, but then we don't want to put a ton of effort into it. Garden Guy Dale Kay joins us. He's got top picks. These are the kind that Kelly and I should probably have in our houses.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the top questions I always get asked. Actually, last night I was getting my hair cut and my hairstylist asked me the same question. So I'll explain, or I'll show you exactly what I recommended for her. And then also a little disclaimer for the journalist Siraj here on the other side of the camera. We were talking a little bit before the segment, and he's literally killed about 3 or 4 of these. So I don't know what is up with him, but I'll explain the best ones that you are super low maintenance, not very hard to take care of. Let's start up the back here with Sansevieria. Laurenti right there is a really cool variety, but I like this variety right here. Its name is Whitney. It's a wonderful little snake plant. It has a slight curl to the leaf and really, really rock solid as far as hardiness. Monstera right here, really an iconic house plant, quite hard to kill, even though Siraj said he killed his. So obviously I still have some work to do, but to be quite honest, it's job security too. So also pothos, quite hard to kill. And the great thing about pothos is that if you're starting out with houseplants, this is a great one. It'll trail up, trail down. My daughter has had one of these since her freshman year in college, still going strong lots and lots of years later. This is another Monstera right here. It has a variegation in the leaf. That one is called Cobra. Also, just a very big group of plants is Dracaena. That one there is a tricolor or marginata, but all the Dracaenas very, very hard to kill, as are the ZZ plants. That's the black one right there. It's an improved variety of Raven, and then in front here is just the green ZZ plant, and they'll actually store a lot of moisture in this bulbous root right here that makes them really, really hard. They can go for really, really long periods without any type of water, any type of care, which is really good. This one here, spider plant, ribbon plant, whichever you call it, trails down, makes lots of babies, easy to propagate. This is a fun one if you're looking for some brightness. That bright variegation is really, really fun in the leaf. Also, any of your cactus and succulents, there's so many different varieties out there. That's aloe right there. It's a fun plant to have at home and does a great job of looking good with that kind of deep green all year long. And really any of the euphorbias are great for plant hardiness. I want to talk about this one here a little bit. This is Aspidistra right here, or cast iron plant. Really, really sturdy. It actually lives on the forest floor, so it's really used to not getting water. It's really used to low light, struggling for competition, for fertility, with everything else. So no fertilizer, no light, no water, tough as nails, cast iron plant. It's a little ripper. I love this one. I have one myself just because it just has that really deep green leaf, nothing too special, but looks really, really nice and always stays nice and erect. Also, a great plant for low light are any of the aglaonemias. The only thing with this guy is it's a little bit cold sensitive, so you got to be careful about cold, particularly if you're purchasing one at your garden shop this time of year in January. Just make sure they double wrap it. But once you get it inside your home, really a stellar plant. You'll see them used a lot commercially in office buildings because of that low light factor, that fluorescent light factor. So aglaonemia is a really good one. Also sago palm, very, very hardy. Kind of one of the oldest plants on earth, actually. They call it the dinosaur plants. It's been living for a millennia, so that's a true testament to its own hardiness. Philodendrons, any of the philodendrons, really, really sturdy. This one here is called Moonlight. It's got that nice chartreuse, brand new leaf to it, which is quite nice. And then last but not least, a whole group of plants. There's about 3,000 different varieties of them. Bromeliads, you know the common one, the most recognizable is just your common pineapple plant. That's also a bromeliad, but that modified leaf, that brack, stays in color for a really long time, and also quite drought tolerant as well. Now, as far as bugs, I guess any plant can suffer from bugs. I just want to show you this really quick. When it comes to fungicides, disease, bugs, anything like that. There's a product called neem oil, so it'll kind of take care of everything. You can actually put that on a cloth and just wipe the leaves when you clean your leaves. That's a sure way, an easy way to make sure all these plants stay really healthy as far as pests go. So there you go. I'll just step out of the way, take one last look at all these wonderful little plants that are really the talk of the town when it comes to low maintenance and really good for beginners, or really good for that tough spot. And as far as serrage goes, I got some work to do. With that, we'll send it back to you.
Do you have fake plants? I bet you would do okay with that.
I think he'd even he might even kill a fake plant, would be my guess, if he's struggling with these ones.
That's pure, and I'm so impressed.
Thank you, Dale. I one time said I might just have to go to a fake plant to Dale, and I think he like he stopped breathing for a hot second and was like, "Excuse me." I was like, I can't keep him alive. What's my problem? All right, summer nights spent around the campfire seem like they're a long way off, but you can start planning those summer nights.
Yeah,
now.
The St. Paul River Center is hosting the RV Super Show. So this is a free event. Starts up today, runs through Sunday. There are 200 RVs. But we're going to take you inside a few different options at different price points this morning.
We're seeing a lot of families, a lot of young families that are very interested in RVing because of the affordability and the flexibility with travel schedules, right? With all the sports and things going on, having an RV, you can kind of take off and go when it works for you and your family.
This one in particular has some great family features.
Yeah, this is kind of an unusual one here. Some people get a little weirded out by this. But right behind this door is the bathroom. And why would you want a bathroom right off the outside door there? You know, if the kids are out running around making a mess, you don't want them running all the way through the camper to get to the bathroom and making a mess in the camper. So this works out really well. Quick, easy access to the bathroom, less of a mess. It's a larger camper, so you have a front queen bedroom for mom and dad up front, and then in the back, a big bunk area room that can sleep. You can make 5 beds in there, as well as making the dinette down into a bed and the couch in the living area as well.
If you're looking for, you know, even like a mid-size type mid-range camper for the family, this will actually give you where you again have a spot for mom and dad. This one offers a slide, so it gives you a little more space inside the living area, as well as you still have the bunks. But what's unique about this one is the rear storage on this one. It's just absolutely huge.
And when you say a slide, that's where you can pop out
Correct.
Part of it and kind of give yourself more space if you need it.
Correct.
Oh,
but
yeah.
This one offers where you can bring your bikes along and such. So you have plenty of space to bring a lot of stuff.
You know you're an adult when you're like, look at that storage. My goodness, what a beaut.
From the mid-range option, then you, of course, can step up into another luxurious style camper. This is going to be your upper end, more of a general, everybody can camp in this one, but this is going to be for more your full-timer camper, where now you have the luxury living in the back, you have the bigger kitchen, you're going to have the residential appliances inside here for you. Gives you a little bit more to offer. Sleeping situation in this is, of course, you do have a pull-out couch that you can, have guests or whatever, but this is going to be your master bedroom area for you. So you're going to have the large king-size bed up in front. So you have your own private quarters. You also have a washer dryer prep. You do have extra seating, of course, if you have your guests with you. But this would be a hanging closet, or like I said, you could even put a washer dryer in here as you wanted to travel. You do have your front end closet too, again, with more hanging motion lights inside here for you to boot.
Dang. Storage. If you want to check out the show, it opens today at noon, runs until Sunday afternoon at the St. Paul River Center. Learn more at stpaulrvsupershow.com.
That bathroom on the outside makes a lot of sense.
I can see why at first they were like, whoa, you just pop right into the bathroom. And then, yeah, you seen kids' feet after they're swimming or on the beach?
I mean, sometimes I wish we had a bathroom in The
like
back
right off
of
the
our
garage,
house. Yes,
right off the garage.
Exactly. Just do this. You're going through the whole house.
Back out.
Yeah, cool.
All right, next up, a safety video for a Philippine Airlines is going viral because it features a soap opera style storyline while giving the important instructions you need.
Emergency exits are clearly marked along each side of the cabin. Locate the nearest exit, which may be behind you. Path markings will guide you to the emergency exits. In the event of an emergency landing, remove all sharp objects from your body. Leave everything behind during evacuation. Wait for instructions to go into brace position.
Okay, the 6-minute-long video features a love triangle plot twist. There's scenes that mix drama, flight safety. It's been viewed more than 5 million times since it was posted last week. And that would get people to pay attention.
6 minutes is a long video. It's a long safety video. But if you feel like you're watching a soap opera, you might...
Yeah, like do they end up together? Who does she pick in the end?
True.
There's a lot of questions.
Have to fly, what is it? Philippine Air or something? Yeah,
Airlines.
okay.
Not sure which one.
Cool.
Just plan a trip.
Okay. A record number of music streamed over the last year, more than 5 trillion tracks. That's a new single-year record, up nearly 10% from last year. Not new music, though, people are streaming. In fact, less than half of the music streamed were tracks released just in the last 5 years. The music genres that had the biggest growth included rock, Latin, Christian, and gospel music. I'm guilty of all of this. We streamed a lot. Ours are a lot of
Kid songs?
kid songs.
Kids